stench of blood. Cursed walkers, will you travel there to the valley of the unfortunate undead? Our young ones are taken by the child thief Turgol, known for his vile crimes and alchemy of flesh. That was just too tempting. Sorry. Uh, so these are the words of the hooded woman before you. You're all hanging from iron chains, except for the weird pale guy who's just sort of sitting creepily in the corner of your cell. Uh, so yeah, you're so Crow and Keck or Krek, you're hanging under a steady drip of gray water somewhere deep within the expanse of the dungeons of the Shadow King. I don't know what you did. You probably do. But now you're hanging in these dungeons, and you can hear cries of anguish bellowing out from pretty much all directions, just echoing down the stone corridors. At dawn, you're pretty sure you are going to be executed.
Well, I know what I did. Not a damn thing.
Well, we do things, and people take them as they will.
Right, doing things. Well, it seems like we have no choice in the matter, huh? Such is fate.
This place will drown in blood. But very well. Let's drown it in somebody else's.
I don't imagine it'll be here, but
Okay. So, unquestioningly, you all agree to the hooded woman's, I'm going to use air quotes here, request uh, to go
Yes.
after the child thief Turgal. Okay.
I have to get up for 1 second.
Hmm. Perhaps I should have waited
Why?
to start.
Yeah, why?
Well, we appear to be a man short.
Need to be four of us? Or because Pete stepped away, you mean?
Yeah.
No, Pete will be back.
Yes, eventually. Okay. Well, we're just we'll speed our way through this a little bit. Um. So yeah. So you guys agree to the crone's demands, and a pair of guards will approach the cell at her signal. Uh, they will open the cell, approach you fine gentlemen, and they will uh, go ahead and, before removing the manacles attaching you to the wall, they will just manacle you together at your feet and ankles, right? So you're all going to be chained together, uh, and then uh, they will get your hands free, or at least off
And I'm
the
back.
wall.
Okay.
Okay, welcome back.
Are we being removed from the wall?
You have been removed from the wall. You are still chained together at the ankles.
Nice.
And the crone will motion out of the cell. The guards will flank you guys as you exit the cell. I assume you exit the cell.
Yeah.
Okay. And she will basically say, walk with me. And slowly guide you down this long and very dark corridor with screams and crying echoing out uh, ahead of you and behind you. So this dungeon is in really bad shape as you walk. Um, there are large sections that appear to have caved in. Um, there are long, dark hallways that don't really look like they get any foot traffic, um, where the torches have been removed. And sometimes, as you walk past them, you see flickers of shadow, things moving in the dark. Um, so this crowd leads you for quite a ways before you reach sort of a breach in the wall that appears to lead outside. It is heavily overcast, raining, um, and there's just a little moonlight offering some view of the outside world. Uh, and this appears to exit into the forest. The crone will say, go into the forest, Sarkash, then follow the river Mer to Lake Onda to reach the valley.
Hmm. Into the forest, follow the river to the lake, reach the valley. Got it. Well, we'll be on our way.
Before you depart, among the lost children, the king's son, Alden, do not return without the boy.
Understood.
Say nothing. And
Nothing.
as she does this, she drops the key on the ground and walks away from you.
Well, I pick it up and unlock myself.
Yep, and then I unlock myself.
Reasonable.
Let's see, equipment here. Where are they? That should be two sets of manacles that we now have, and a key.
Indeed.
Right. So, anyway, I'm Craig. You are somebody?
I'm Crow.
Crow? Did the pale guy that was just sitting on the floor follow us?
Yeah, I mean, I assume so.
He's rather quiet. Yes, he did.
Okay. Now turn to you, and you are.
I don't actually know how to roleplay a character who doesn't talk much.
I feel like he mostly just like twitches. He probably looks a
Here-
little like one of those things from Silent Hill. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was gonna say Underdark. This is what my character does.
I mean, he's basically Hans from when we did the one campaign.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm going to call you Jim. Anyway, Crow, Jim, I guess we should be off. And I start walking through the woods.
Do we have our things?
You do not have your things. Your things, however, are somewhere. They were not thrown away.
Oh. Well, I look around. Are our things in evidence?
No. You do still see the crone in the distance, walking away.
Old woman, wait. Could we trouble you for our things? I think it would greatly contribute to our likelihood of success.
She doesn't turn back to face you, but she raises her arm, uh, her left arm, and points. And she's sort of at a T intersection, and she's pointing down this dark hallway.
Hmm.
And then she lowers her arm and continues to walk.
Oh, well, we'd better be off that way then first.
Makes sense. Let's go.
All right, we go to the T intersection and go off to the left, the direction she pointed.
Indeed. Come along, Jim.
Yep. He follows.
Very good. It's quite dark, uh, but if you sort of feel your way along the wall, before too long, there is a door that you can make out.
All right.
Feels like wood.
I open the door, or attempt to.
Okay. You open the door. It opens inward into a small room. There is sort of evidence of a fire, a few lingering like cinders in the middle of the room, and there are a couple of shelves which appear to have all of your things on them.
Mm.
Okay.
As soon as we come in the room, I see my backpack and my sack and I run over.
And yeah, that's fine.
Anything else here besides our things?
There's a wooden chair and like I said, there's the remains of a fire. Um, let's see. Let's see if we can find anything else for you. Hold on. This is a great opportunity to roll a d66. So roll 2d6. I need the individual results.
Well, I'm the one who asked, so I will. 2d6.
Yep.
There you go.
So a 2 and a 4. Give me one moment.
This is a hex d66.
Yeah, it's a weird it's a weird way to roll 66.
I've actually seen that before.
Well, I mean, it goes from 11 to 66 though, like so technically you're only rolling 55.
No, because it's a hexal d66. You got to think of it that way.
Okay. So on the ground in front of one of the shelves, there's a decent amount of broken glass.
Hmm.
Probably a couple of large containers that broke, like maybe a couple of pitchers or something.
Oh, well, I see no reason not to hold on to some broken glass. Never know when it might come in handy.
I could put it in my sack.
All right,
Perfect. The man can put
roll
it
a
in his sack.
d4, and that's about the number of large pieces that maybe would work as a dagger or something.
I'd like to, if I can, fill a pocket with some small pieces so I can have some pockets.
You
Pocket
may
sand?
Plus,
absolutely fill your pocket with small pieces of glass. Yes.
Yep. Pocket glass.
Yeah, I was just gonna sweep everything up and put it in my sack.
Yeah, that's three pieces that would make perfect stabbing implements. It would help if you wrapped the handles.
Yeah, I could dig out a bunch of rope and kind of make some improvised, very prison-like knives.
Beautiful.
Call it 10 feet.
Well, having
That's fine.
regained our things, I think now we can properly get out of here.
You guys want a glass knife?
I'm good.
Like
Nah.
like as Jim's making them, he kind of offers them to you guys and
Okay. So you guys exit the room. Um, as you exit the room, you see the silhouette of, I don't know, a man. It doesn't. They don't appear well. They appear emaciated and coated in blood, or something dark and blood-like. I don't know. You've probably been in the dungeon long enough to know what blood looks like in the dark and what it smells like.
Mm. Oh yeah, I know these guys. Must be one of the jailers.
Um, but yeah, he's just standing there in the dark, uh, further down the hallway,
Hmm.
just sort of swaying slightly.
Is he in the way of our exit?
No.
Oh, well, no problem to me then.
Yeah, I'll just
Come on,
go.
everybody.
Okay.
Jim kind of pauses and looks at you guys and looks back at the guy and looks at you guys and then he follows you, but he's facing backwards.
Okay. As you guys walk, um, this uh, the shadowy figure sort of slowly steps forward, not quite keeping pace with you, but sort of following along. Seems to be kind of struggling to walk.
Does he follow us all the way out the exit?
Um, he has followed you as far as the exit.
Okay. Well, as we walk into the woods, does he follow us into the woods?
He does not appear to follow you into the woods.
Yeah, probably just making sure we didn't run off.
Okay. So the forest Sarkosh. Sort of dense and evergreen. Everything is soaking wet. It's been raining for quite some time. There's a lot of mud. You guys are probably familiar enough with the area um, to be able to figure out how to get to the river from here.
Sure.
Okay.
And without spending too much time on overland travel, which is not described in this book, uh, I will tell you that you follow the river south to Lake Unda. Um, and you know that you are near the valley, although you're probably less familiar with this locale. I will say by this point, Dawn has probably reached us, so we should probably discuss uh, the event that is about to occur.
Sunrise?
With sunrise, there is something else that happens.
We can see better?
One of you, please flip a coin for me.
Heads.
Very good. Uh, roll another d66.
1-1.
Okay. I don't think anything happens that you can see. But we will move on.
Yeah, we just keep walking towards the valley.
Okay.
Whistling a jaunty tune.
Very good. So, in less than half a day's hike, you make it to the valley, uh, or you're fairly sure it's the valley as you sort of approach uh, on this sort of cliff side. Uh, it does appear that there is a much easier slope, less than half a day's walk to your east, to the east. Um,
That's okay. It's east for me too.
Well, I don't see any
and
reason not to take the easy way down.
Hmm.
yeah, and so by nightfall, you make it to the valley. At this point, you've been traveling since before dawn, and you are likely tired.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Seems reasonable.
I'm hitting Alt on my laptop instead of on the device that's connected to Discord. Push to talk. Anyway, I don't think anything interesting transpires here. You guys did not poke any bears in the woods. Uh, you don't need to heal. I think your rest just goes off without a hitch. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your opinion, uh, that means we face another dawn. So I would like another D2, and on a 1, another D66.
6-5.
Okay. Oh my. Okay. I was ill prepared for that one. Give me a moment.
That's always fun.
Okay. So as the sun crests over the horizon and you all are awakening, um, really before you've shaken the cobwebs and uh, managed to fully embrace the day, um, you feel the ground underneath you beginning to shake. Um, it it feels like the entire world is just vibrating under you. And you hear the crack of trees falling all around in the woods. Uh, it's not a good sound.
Is there a direction?
All around you, you hear trees snapping, and uh, it sounds like there was a rock slide just now. It's not good sounds. Bad
Ah.
sounds.
Do I know which way the slope goes up?
Do you know which way the slope goes up?
Let me rephrase that. Do I know which way from where we are is upslope? Like, can I find that?
Yeah, I mean, you're in a valley, so the entry was east, so north south is probably where the cliff faces are.
Ah, well, that explains why it's all around us. Um, what we want to do is find nice solid rock outcropping or something to take shelter in so we don't all get crushed to death. Did we pass anything like that?
I imagine you probably camped on something like that.
Ah, well, is there enough space under it for us to huddle down there? Or in its shadow, not necessarily under it, but, you know.
Sure, we'll say there is. But yeah, as you guys sort of get up and you take cover, I assume you're following Crow.
Yeah, we'll follow Crow over to the cover.
Okay. You could see that the ground is opening up uh, in the woods, and trees are sort of sliding into it. Um, and there's sort of a channel that's been broken, and you could see all the way clear to the edge of the valley where the ground was just torn open, uh, and the cliff face sort of torn in half to your north, and all the trees along this line have all just fallen into this gaping pit. Um, And yeah,
Well, that
it
is
it
not at all
calm
what I thought was going on.
it calms down uh, after several minutes, but you sort of still feel this faint rumble in the ground. Every so often, there's just a tremor.
Must be that end of the world I keep hearing about.
We should just go. If it
Yeah,
kills us, it kills us. It was fated to happen.
yeah. I mean, every breath I take is a gift, really.
Or a curse.
So you guys are packing up camp.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you gentlemen pack up camp, and you notice that there's a small uh, sort of crack in the ground fairly close to your campsite, and there are snakes crawling out of it. They're just slithering up through this gap.
That's no good. Are we in shape to move?
I mean, I don't think you guys
Is,
had that much kit to camp out with in the first place.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's not much to pack.
We were
Well,
very roughing it.
the snakes are welcome to our campsite, I think. So let's just go.
Are these snakes, you know, just normal snakes from the looks of them?
They are green and roughly snake-sized. You're probably no snake expert, but they don't look man-sized. They don't have wings.
You said they're snake-sized?
Yeah,
Are they also snake-shaped?
yeah.
Hmm.
I think they're snakes.
I was just gonna say that. Well, best leave them alone. I don't want to get bit.
Yeah. Let's just walk away.
Very good. All right. You guys move away from the snakes and you make your way further into the valley. Um, you don't have to go very far before you see um, sort of sticking up uh, out of the uh, sort of it's near the edge of the valley under what appears to be uh, sort of a mudslide. There appears to be I don't know, like the top half of a church or something, a large stone building.
And it was buried in the mudslide?
Yes, the back half is completely buried. It looks like there's a little bit of maybe steeple sticking up. The front is only sort of half buried, and there's a sort of stream, sort of flowing now uh, in front.
Oh, we should check that out.
Yeah, I suppose we don't really know where we're going from here now that we're at the valley. This could be the way.
Is the door accessible?
So, front of the building has two doors. They both appear to be accessible, with possibly the removal of a little bit of dirt that has fallen, uh, sort of in like off the roof.
Okay, is there anything different between the two doors?
Not really. You have two standard single doors. They're spaced a little ways apart, um, and they're hinged on opposite sides.
All right, well, let's check out the right door then.
Okay.
Is
So
there
you
any?
open. Go ahead.
Oh, I was about to ask, is there any writing on the doors or above the doors or anything?
No, these just appear to be sort of heavy wooden doors.
All right, let's open it.
Okay. So you open the door and you enter what appears to be uh oh, it's got a few beds and some bookshelves, right? But this is more of a let me describe this better. So you open the door and directly in front of you, you see two beds, and there are some emaciated looking corpses laying in them. There are some bookshelves against the right hand wall.
Do the bodies look like they've been here a while?
Yes. They do not appear particularly fresh.
Well, never
Um,
mind that. I'm going for the bookshelves.
Yeah, let's check out the bookshelves. What's on it?
okay.
Anything that, like
Um,
a journal or log would be something I'd be paying special attention for.
all right. Um, there are a great many books. None of them appear to be labeled on the spine. If you want to grab a book, you can roll a d4.
Yeah.
I'll pick one.
Okay. Now let's do Crow first.
Okay. So, Crow, you open the book and you are compelled. Uh, you cry out, "You dead, arise!"
Mmm.
Um, at which point, uh, this being emerges from the book, um, which forces its way out of your hands. Uh, and it's this sort of crystalline, demonic looking entity. I believe we must now roll in.
Okay, how does initiative work?
I think somebody just
Basically,
rolls a d6.
y-
Well, who should do it?
Well, it's your demon. You roll it.
Fair enough.
You started it.
I suppose.
Neat.
Ah, well, we go first.
see your roll yet.
Got
You
a
rolled a
four.
4.
Got a 4.
Okay, yes, you go first.
Okay, well, if I'm going first, how does action economy work in this game? Do you just do one thing per turn?
Yeah, you get enough time to maybe move as far as across one room. So from one side of a room to another.
Okay, so if I want to use a power, that's my turn. If I want to attack with a weapon, that's my turn.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Okay, well, this thing's right up in our faces, so I think I will try to hit it with my warhammer. That's just
Yep.
a d20 plus strength against 12.
That sounds correct to me.
Oh, I suppose I should roll for my random power, shouldn't I? I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, I
do.
forgot to do that as well. Or I forgot to roll how many times I can use it today. But we'll get this out of the way first. Ooh, that's just barely a success.
Okay.
And this is a Warhammer. It's a D4, so I roll a D4.
Unfortunately, you don't need to roll a d4. You
Alright.
connect with your strike, um, and it just sort of reverberates, and your hand hurts a little from the percussion, but it doesn't appear to have affected the demon.
Mm. Well, that's disconcerting. Anyway, that's it for my turn, I think.
So he hit it with a warhammer and it did nothing.
Yep.
Just a bong.
And,
And it
and when he
appears
opened the
crystalline.
book, he appeared to be compelled to say the phrase, "I command thee dead rise."
Um, the phrase was "You dead arise," but yes.
Okay. Well, I look at the demon and say, "Arise, dead you," to see if saying the phrase in reverse would undo it.
The demon does not Uno reverse card.
Try the book, Crick.
Okay, I pick up the book.
Okay. You pick up the book.
Not what I meant.
When you pick up the book, do you look at the book?
Yes.
You are compelled to yell, "You dead, arise." It doesn't do anything.
Okay. What else is in the book besides that?
You look at the book again, and you are compelled again
Well,
to
I
yell,
don't look
"You dead."
away. Like I look at it, I say the phrase, but I'm still looking at it. What does it actually say? Does it say anything besides those three words?
It doesn't even say those three words.
What does it say?
Pages are blank.
Oh,
You look at it, and you're compelled to say those things.
Hmm.
is there a like a nightstand with a candle next to the bed?
Sure.
Is the candle lit?
Roll a d2. 2. It's lit.
I hold the book over the candle to light it on fire.
Okay. The book is now slightly singed and is on fire,
Okay,
but it's probably going to take more than 6 seconds to burn.
probably. But does the demon in any way react to me lighting the book he came out of on fire?
No, but he is kind of looking around the room. He doesn't seem that interested in you, actually.
Okay. I guess that's all I would really be able to do then. 6 seconds
You
or so.
hear, at about this time, you hear some sound. Uh, there is a doorway on the north wall in this room. And on the other side of this doorway, you hear some footsteps.
I throw the burning book at the demon.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, he gets hit with a book, and I mean, he's made out of like crystal rocks or something. He doesn't really seem like he cares.
All right.
All right, Jim.
All right, I am looking at how my character is with the random powers.
Mhm.
So I would just roll at dawn for. So would I roll a d10 or 2d10? Because there is the unclean scrolls and the sacred scrolls.
I believe you get unclean scrolls, but I'd have to go look back at the thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's just because that's pretty much all I can really do. Obviously, watching Crow hit it with the same weapon that I have wouldn't do anything, so I'd be looking to use my power. Speaking of, I should roll that too. Oh yeah, I can get 2 powers.
What are we waiting on?
You to get back on
What you what?
which power list I'd roll on.
The unclean scrolls.
Unclean? Okay, so I got a 6, so I have lightning then for the day.
All right.
Well, then I will do lightning. Which I think is just a presence roll from what I'm reading.
All right. Are you attacking the demon?
Yep,
Okay.
I missed.
Okay. Yeah, you fire some lightning. I haven't got the power out. Can you describe your power?
9 violet signs unknotted the storm, produced D2 lightning bolts, dealing D6 damage each. That's the specific of what I rolled.
Okay. Yeah, it just sort of fizzles, I think. Okay. Oh my. Okay. Um so now that you've all gone, the door on the north wall uh opens up and uh an armored man peers into the room. He does not appear to be alone. He appears to have 3 compatriots who have not made it into the room yet. This armored gentleman runs in and let's see. Crow, you're probably the closest target. So he's going to go ahead and attack you. He has a sword.
Okay.
Make a defense roll for me.
Right. Let me see. How do I? It's under violence. Defense, test agility. If you fail, the enemy hits you. Ah, right. Okay.
Sleuth.
Looks like he hits me.
He hits you. Okay. His sword does a d6 damage. You can roll the damage. It's fine.
Okay, and let's see. I'm wearing light armor,
Go ahead and roll for your reduction.
so
So he
that is
does 3
3.
damage.
All right.
Okay. He's done. His 3 friends are also going to run into the room, one of whom is also going to attack you. So do the same song and dance again.
Ah, he hits again. And what do they have?
Unfortunate. You guys, have you rolled your omens? You should have a certain number of basically like inspiration dice.
Is that what
I
omens
didn't.
are?
I
Let's
didn't do
get
that.
that going. Yeah, let's get
Okay.
that going.
How do
Just
we
in
roll
case.
that?
So your class will have a specific number. It
I
probably
didn't.
tells you.
I didn't make a character with a class.
Oh, then you start with a flat number, but I have to look at the book to figure out what that is. Hold on.
Yeah, mine says 2 parenthesis D4, so I'm guessing I roll a D4 each day to see how many omens I have.
I believe that's cool.
I get a D2 if I don't play a class.
Okay.
Yeah, mine says 4d4, so.
Right. I get 2. Well, since I have omens now. I don't want to waste it on a reroll here because I'm probably going to fail anyway.
It's up to you. If you're not going to use it, go ahead and roll damage.
No, I know what I'm going to do. Is it another D6?
Yep.
And now I'm going to use it to reduce the damage
That's smart.
to nothing.
That's really smart. Okay. He swings at you. Uh, it looks like it's a hit, but it appears that everybody who's looking at this attack, it looks like it went right through you, but actually, it was just on your side, and
Yeah.
everyone's looking from the wrong angle.
He did technically hit me, but I was just at the edge of his reach, so it only scraped off me. But it didn't look like that.
Mm-hmm. It looked
Would
very
have, yeah.
lethal.
Yeah, would have
Everyone
been very
thought you were
convincing
totally
stage
dead.
fighting.
Okay. So these other two filtering into the room. One of them is going to strike at this demon because he's like, "What the fuck?" Uh, and you hear the reverberation. And as a matter of fact, somebody just just quickly for me, make an attack roll. No modifier, just a d20 roll.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't drop his sword, but it's clear that his hand also hurts because he attacks this thing and hits it, and it just makes his sword vibrate loudly. And then the last one is going to attack Krek. So, Krek, if you would make a defense roll.
All right, that's DR12 agility, right?
Yep.
I failed.
Okay. Roll a d6. He does 4 damage, unless you have some armor and you want to reduce it.
I have no armor. I'm gonna use a omen to reduce that damage though,
Okay.
because that
Go
is how
for it.
many hit points I have.
Okay, that's not ideal, but use that omen.
I take no damage.
Okay. He attacks you. It looks like it's going to connect, but his friend's attack connects with that monster, and the horrible sound that it makes causes him to look away at the last second and whiff. All right. Uh, at this point, the demon turns away from all the interlopers and begins looking at the bookshelf. The demon reaches out and grabs a roll of paper from between the books and opens it. You see all the text on this page, all these runes, sort of begin to glow red. They get brighter and brighter, and then they vanish. The crystalline entity here begins to glow before sort of exploding. Uh, and I would like everybody to make a presence roll. Okay. You all pass. I need presence rolls for my 4 guards as well.
My finger slipped.
This is acceptable. Okay. 2 passes, 2 failures. Can you roll 2d6 damage for me? Okay. So 2 of them are struck with uh, some of these crystalline shards. I mean, all of you are struck with crystalline shards, but these 2 are struck with rather large crystalline shards in the head, and it appears to hurt, particularly the second one. It is now the party's turn.
How do scrolls work in this game? Are they one-time use?
Um, so it doesn't actually specify. I'm going with no.
I
Okay.
think the scrolls just determine what powers you know.
Correct.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well,
Did you read the part about the like the number of times you can use powers per day?
no.
It's a D4 plus presence. You roll it every day, and I'm not sure how it's distributed, but I only have one power, so
All right. Well, I get
yeah.
5 power uses,
Okay.
and I guess I'm gonna pull out my scroll.
Okay.
Eyelid blinds the mind. Now I need to make a DR12 presence test to use the power, right? To use the scroll.
Yep.
Oh no.
That's not good. No. That's a bad start.
That is.
Hold on.
Yeah, all it says is for fumbles. See page 44.
Okay, roll a d20 for me, please. 15. Okay.
He becomes a glow stick.
Yeah, so Krek, your skin becomes pale and begins to emit a sickly greenish light.
Okay, is that it?
Yeah. Your spell also fails.
So I do take the D2 damage.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot to do that.
All right.
When I did my power.
I guess I also become dizzy for an hour and cannot use powers during that time.
Yes. If that's a result of spell failure, then yes.
Yeah. Okay. What does dizzy mean?
I don't believe that is a status effect.
Ah.
That's
Okay.
just a description of the
I run
fact
for
of
it.
this. Okay. Fair. Okay. They see you running away. But yeah, you just run for the exit.
Yes.
Yep. Sleuth, those are your class features. They're randomly generated from a list.
Gotcha.
All right. So, who's next?
I think Pete went last.
Oh yeah, I can go.
Yeah, you
And
guys go
Jim
in
still
whatever
needs to
order
take
you
his
want. We're
turn.
just going back and forth between teams, basically.
Well, I'm just gonna run out and follow Crack and heal him. So I don't know exactly what that's gonna do.
Okay, well, my weapon does not appear. Oh well, no, it exploded. Let's see, I can't heal anybody, but Jim is here. So let's see.
Yeah, the Silent Hill nurse is gonna heal you. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. That's what my character basically is.
I suppose I don't have to do this in combat, but oh well, might as well. Let's see, so if I want to use a power, I need to presence DR12. Okay. Ah well,
Hey, we all failed.
we all fail.
All right.
I lose a D2 HP. All right. And that's my turn.
Then yeah, I will run out behind Krek and use a charge from the medicine kit on him. And that stops bleeding and infections. I don't know if that affects the critical failure that he took. Well, 2 healing.
Yay! I'm back up to full.
Yay.
Does the infection part stop him from glowing and killing stuff around him?
Oh, he's still glowing.
Okay.
You never said
I
anything
wasn't
about
sure.
killing stuff around me. You just said I was glowing with the light.
It slowly kills stuff around you.
No, the caster's unaware of that effect.
Oh, is that why it's italicized? Okay.
So he just glows. He's just like, yeah, that's life.
Yet it's more I'm legging it because I'm basically useless now in the fight. So
Yeah, we all are.
All right, so it's the baddie's turn. I mean, we're all the baddies on this.
unless
day.
McBurt is going.
That's a good point. I did foreshadow a shadowy figure following you. So let's say a shadowy figure emerges through the south door. McBurt, there are 4 uh, armored men just hanging out in here. They look grumpy.
All right, well, there's about to be a fifth armored man. McBurt has mail armor and a short sword, and everything is just very worn down, ratty, and not well maintained. Um, the my class abilities sound like people. Are they separate people that just follow me around, or
Let me look at your class ability. Hold on.
Poltroon, the court jester, and Hamfund, the squire?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure those are just dudes.
All right.
You have a clown and the child
Okay.
following you around.
Yes. The clown is absolutely obnoxious. Um, Practically useless, personally irritating, and an emotional drain.
I'll probably bite
Uh,
him at some point.
I like him.
and then the child is a cowardly servant carrying another sword. So then Thurg will mosey on in.
Okay.
And just join these other strange creatures of people in their, I assume they're not looking happy.
Yeah, you probably recognize them from the dungeons. The people that just ran out past you, and you know that the guards in here that have their swords drawn are probably not your friends.
Mm. All right, so I'll just join in on their little misery circle.
So what? You see everybody's running out of the room, and you also leave the room.
Yeah, I'll follow them if they're running.
Okay. You follow the party. Uh, so you're outside the building. Um, in the forest, there's sort of this muddy stream that is formed where this mudslide has covered half this building. Um, yeah, but I guess if you're not attacking, it is now the baddie's turn, and they charge out after you. I see no reason that they would not reach you guys successfully outside, and they are going to begin to attack. Thurg, you were probably the last one to turn around, so thusly, you are the closest to the door when they emerge.
Does Paltroon's obnoxious thing that's supposed to be at the start of the combat
I think
apply
it will
now?
initiate now, yes.
All right. So what do I roll with this?
So they are attacking you 4 times.
And then I roll defense with my agility.
I believe this is correct, yes.
20. The poltroon gives all of our allies a +2 to attack and defense, but
Correct.
my armor gives me
That's going to reduce damage.
um, it also adds a DR +2 on agility tests, including defense. So I'm just rolling flat d20s. Hmm.
Okay. So miss, hit, hit, miss. So roll 2d6. And you can subtract your armor twice. So you could roll uh, for your chain armor twice.
Uh,
So you take 5 slashing damage. Really, there's no damage types, but you take 5 damage as these guys run out, and they're all sort of like getting in each other's way, trying to attack you. But 2 of them get swings in um, that do connect.
all right. So with 5 damage, I'm at -1 HP.
Okay. I'm not gonna have you insta die.
It
I am
would
going
be
to
funny.
let negative HP, which is left vague in the book, mean negative max HP, and say once you hit 0, you have to roll on the broken table. So roll a d4.
Well, he would have actually been at 0. He did 9 minus 2d4.
Okay, well that's even better. All right. So 3, you're not dead, but you have a hemorrhage, and you're gonna die in D2 hours unless treated.
Hmm.
So yeah, have fun with
I
that.
see.
Roll your D2. Okay, well enjoy your next 2 hours.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah, so you're everybody, you witness this brave man run in to help you as you all run past him to escape. And he has enough time to turn around and be like, "Wait, what?" And then 4 people run out and start swinging at him. And he dodges 1, he dodges 2 swings. And then the third one sort of connects with his shoulder, and the fourth one hits him right square in the fucking head. He drops like a sack of potatoes and he's bleeding from his head. He is still moving on the ground, but he is on the ground.
Like flopping and flailing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a what is that animal called? A chicken.
And with that, it is back to the top of the initiative.
Can I heal a hemorrhage?
I don't know. What's the text on your heel?
I have 4 uses, stops bleeding / infections and heals d6. Life elixir heals d6 and removes infection. I have both.
Um,
The hemorrhage is just internal bleeding.
yeah, I think only the medicine chest does it.
Okay. Then I'll go up and use a medicine chest on Thurg.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You go and you begin to stop the bleeding as these men loom over you.
Yep. I mean, if it helps, I start laughing manically.
So they
Um,
knock down the one guy. One of our guys turns around and is trying to help him. I call that a great distraction, and I keep running.
Fair enough.
Do I get
Crow.
a turn?
Oh yeah, Thurg.
All right. Um, I've got Ham, my little squire, with me, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and take that sword, the cursed sword Eureka, and I'm gonna start swinging. Uh,
Okay. Yeah, your squire freaks out, and the second you take the sword, your cowardly squire runs right after, like as soon as you have your hands on the sword. And as he's running, that pulls the sword out of the scabbard, and he goes to hide.
all right,
But you have the sword.
and now I start poking. Um, melee adds strength, which mine is 0. The hemorrhaging has been stopped, so does that get rid of the DR16 thing? And I'm back down to 12, or am I still at DR16 for this?
I think we'll call that 12. Yeah.
All right. Um, I do need to roll a d6. Oh, okay. Well, I got one good swing out of it.
Okay.
2d6 damage for this. And for every swing of Eureka, roll a d6. On a 1, the squire is slain and Eureka vanishes forever.
Okay.
So I have one of my 2 swords, and it's not the cool one. I also don't have a squire anymore.
Is that the same roll?
That was the D6 that he rolled up first.
That's rough. So,
Yeah.
okay. So you swing wildly at these baddies, and you do strike one, and you do a great deal of damage. You kill him outright. But then as you swing for the next one, the sword slips from your hand due to the blood from your head injury. And yeah, the sword flies off and just goes right through the back of your young squire as he's running away from you. He falls face first into the dirt, and the sword it basically evaporates, leaving a gaping wound in your poor squire.
And then I will spend the rest of my turn and probably life just waxing poetic, being an obnoxious prick along with my squire, not squire, jester, about, oh, how the mighty have fallen to be brought so low by such scoundrels and hooligans.
Okay, Crow, you got anything to do?
How many of these men in armor? Well, they're all still right here, aren't they?
There are 3 left. 2 of them are injured.
Oh well,
I
I
thought
guess I'll pick one of the injured ones and try to hit them with my warhammer. Hopefully, this will see more success than I did with the demon.
Godspeed, Crow.
Ah well, that didn't work. I'm gonna run outside.
You are already outside.
Wonderful. I'm going to run away.
Okay. You run over to where Krek is.
Sure.
All right.
That's it.
Okay. It is the baddie's turn. There are 3 of them, and there is only one Jim.
Yeah, and
But there's also a noble who has recently recovered from a head injury.
And killed one of their buddies.
So they're probably going to dogpile on him. So 3 attacks at Thurg.
But 20 agility, jester, that.
I
Hey,
believe they are all whiffs. So the first strike comes down and you roll out of the way. The second strike comes down, but then the third guy gets in the way and they kind of trip over each other. And You somehow are not skewered by any of these 3 blades. And we are back to the top of initiative.
I continue running.
Okay, you continue to flee. There are still 3 of you. What are you doing?
Hmm. Well, can I jump on one of them?
You wish to jump on one of them. To what end?
To like bite him in the face.
I mean, I don't see any reason you can't bite them in the face.
Well, no, more so like the jockey from Left 4 Dead, like that. That's how I want to jump on them. Very crazily.
Okay. Uh, I mean, I don't see any reason for that to be any more mechanically complex than a standard attack. I don't know what the unarmed attack looks like. Do you have special stats for teeth or anything? I don't think you do.
No, not this character. One of my other ones, but okay, so that would just be. I think it'd just be a D20 in strength, right?
Well, your attack is. I need your damage. Your damage is a D2 for an unarmed attack.
Okay. Yeah, I'd seen it somewhere, but I was scrolling.
Okay. So, as these guys are all attacking Thurg, one of them swings down at him and he arcs his back really low and he almost falls over. You seize the opportunity to jump on his back and you try to bite him, but you are unable to do any substantial damage. You might get a little bit of his ear.
Well, I'm gonna ride the pony.
Okay. Let's see. Crow?
Did any of the 3 in there follow me outside?
Everybody's outside. Krek has run away. Jim has jumped
Right.
on the back of a baddie, and Thurg is still on the ground in front of the baddies.
Well, I'm not looking too good, so I think I will also hide. I would like to
Okay.
run away and hide.
Okay, you had already run away some. Krek kept running, but you're gonna just dive into the bushes somewhere.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'll go a different direction and then dive into some bushes.
Okay. You split off from Krek and then jump into the bushes. Thurg.
All right, and with that, I think I got to turn in because it is 11 here.
Okay.
All right, have a good night.
Have fun. I would
Abandoned.
I like to wax poetic louder and more obnoxiously while I stab another guy in the target-rich environment.
Okay. That will connect.
Short sword only does the 4 for 1 damage.
Okay. Well, he has armor, and it's a D2. It has to reduce it by 1, so I'm not going to roll.
Understandable.
So you strike him, but it is deflected by his armor. You hear a slight ringing sound from his helmet.
One more thing to bitch and moan about.
Okay. I guess that's everybody. These guys get to attempt murder again. But this should be funny because now they're all very interested in Jim, who has jumped on the back of one of these gentlemen. So there's going to be 3 attacks, I think, against Jim.
Okay.
The difficulty for the third attack is probably going to be slightly higher because he's trying to attack someone who is on his back. So if I could get 3d20, and then the third attack is probably going to be like a DR of 14 or something.
And agility for defense.
Yeah.
Oh, I meant to roll them separate. Well, the
That'll
third
do.
guy definitely misses.
That'll do. So
Second guy hits.
the first one is afraid to hit his friend, so he makes a couple half-hearted swings, doesn't connect. The second guy connects, and he'll do a d6 damage. But the third guy, well, why don't you roll your d6 damage first, and we'll talk about that. All right.
Okay.
Need to reduce that or anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, I have a light armor, so -1, I think.
What's a d2? I think minus a d2.
Oh, yeah. And then I want to use a omen to reduce that.
Okay.
So I take 1
Alright.
damage.
Fair enough. And then the gentleman who you're on his back, he tries to attack you, but fails spectacularly, and he clips himself in the shoulder with his own sword.
Ouch.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say he takes 1 damage. He's very hurt at this point. Because he's still bleeding from the crystalline entity that attacked him earlier. All right. Top of the round, I think.
All right. I've run sufficiently far away that I could probably break off visual contact with them, right, and start trying to sneak off to the side.
Yeah, you could.
All right.
For sure.
The idea is I want to try to kind of loop around and try to get back to that church without being seen.
Okay. They're definitely not paying attention to you. You're pretty confident. If you just slip into the woods now, they're not going to know.
Yeah. And at least I'm trying to then kind of like arc back around to get back to the church without being detected.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm guessing that takes longer than just the one round.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Alrighty. Who's next?
Well, I guess I'll play whack-a-mole with one of the other 2 guys. Keeping
Okay.
my mount alive, and then I'll pull out my warhammer and hit one of the other guys.
All right. Yeah, you kind of wrap your arm around the guy's neck for stability, and you get your warhammer ready with the other hand and start taking swings at his friends. That's a hit.
Since they're both equally injured, doesn't matter. If one of them's more injured, I target him.
One of them is more injured.
All right.
Okay. Roll a d2 for me. That's his leather armor. Okay. He you hit him and it appears that one of those crystals had cracked his helmet. So when you connect with this, it splits his helmet open, which is really unfortunate for him. Because you also cave his skull in.
Oh, excellent.
He drops limply onto the ground, falling onto Thurg, actually.
There, you should really stand up.
It's worth a thought.
But that is effort. Can I reach them from where I am and just like poke their shins or something?
Absolutely, yeah.
Good. No kneecap will be safe. The clown's effect is worn off. So it's past the second round.
Mm-hmm.
12.
Okay. That hits. Go ahead and roll damage. Okay. Roll a d2 for me, please. Okay. You hear the guard say, "Ow, my shin!" He's not happy about that.
And then deliver you, rapscallion. As I'm still laying on my back, bleeding from under the mud. Alright, that's it for me.
Okay. So 2 attacks. One at Jim and one at Thurg. Each of you please roll 1d20. I believe he misses you, Thurg. All right.
Oh,
Oh, it's a
I've
defense
got,
roll, right? You need to,
yes, that'd be a 12 for that would hit.
yeah. So you both fail. Okay. So he stabs through his friend, but he still hits you. Roll damage, and then, yeah.
Do a d4.
He has a d6. His sword is a d6.
Alright.
I'm gonna get the hang of this.
Uh,
Okay.
hey, I went from 0 to -4 out of 4.
Oh,
No, you got 2 health when I healed you.
Ah, right. I
okay.
went from 2 to -2 out of 4.
Okay. Roll a d4. Okay. Roll a d6. Okay. You have broken a limb. So he went to attack you and he did not connect, but when he did his attack, he stepped on the corpse of his friend and the weight transferred in an awkward way, and it we're going to say it broke your right leg.
Mm.
And that hurts.
Just a little bit.
Okay. Jim, you also, I believe, need to roll.
Oh, I had a 7.
Right, but
Oh,
your
okay.
defense roll is a defense roll.
Gotcha. So D6.
Okay.
And I'll use my last omen to fuck that off. Cool, I take no damage.
That's beautiful.
Sitting at 2 HP.
Okay. These gentlemen are done. Jim, you are the only combatant right now because Thurg is going to be out of commission for a D4 rounds. So he can go ahead and roll his D4 for how many rounds he's out. He's probably not going to help you.
Unfortunate. Alright, well, I will bop the other guy on the head.
Absolutely, that did it.
For no damage.
For no damage. You hit him on the head. You hear a ringing sound, but he puts his hand on his helmet and stops the vibration.
Okay, that's all I can do. Riding the one guy's back and playing
Okay.
whack-a-mole with the other one.
All right. Um, I think they're both gonna look at each other, and then they're gonna look at Thurg lying there, uh, in pain, and then they're both just gonna stab down at him at the same time. So, 2d20, Thurg.
I'm guessing I haven't gotten back to the church yet.
No.
Okay.
We could say you'll be there, when they're done, though. Okay.
Fumble on
So
a defense.
so one of them drops his sword, and the other one
That,
hits you for d6 damage.
that's a fumble on a defense, not their attack, if I'm
Oh,
reading
you're
this right.
you're
So
right.
I take double damage, and I go from a
Uh,
tier 2 to a tier 1 armor.
yeah, I'm not sure it's gonna
I,
make a
I don't think it's going
difference,
to matter.
but go ahead and roll double damage, or just roll damage regular and then double it, and subtract your now smaller armor value. But yeah.
Oh, it goes from a 2 to a 0.
Okay.
Wait, that's a minus D2, not a flat 2. I missed that.
Well, they both attack separate, so you'd get 2d2, wouldn't you?
Only one of them hit.
Ah.
That's a 1.
Oh, yeah. So still be a 0.
Okay.
No, it doubles the 1 damage to 2 minus the
Oh, right.
D2
Okay.
down to 1.
So you're still not at double your max HP, like negative.
So I roll broken again.
Yeah, you were already broken. You didn't hit 0 again.
All right.
You're just not dead. I can work with that.
Yeah, you're just now bleeding in one more place.
Fine, my house
That's-
color is red.
All right.
At least
Craig,
now it is.
you've kind of emerged. You're still in the woods, but you're closing on them. If you spent your whole, I mean,
I'm not
if you
going
used
towards
your
the combat. I'm going towards the church. I want to slip into the church without them being aware while they're distracted by the combat.
Sure. Um, honestly, they're not paying any attention to you. You could slip through the door and just get just past the door, like behind the wall.
All right.
I am being especially distractive.
Yeah. And there's still that bookcase here, right?
Uh-huh.
All right. I'm going to start going through that bookcase, finding all the loose pieces of paper that look like scrolls, stuffing them in my pack. Any books that look particularly powerful go in my pack. I basically just start looting the place while they're distracted with fighting the rest of the party.
Okay. Hold on 1 second.
I just had a great idea for flavor. Since I have the, I can, for one of my powers under, this is goofy. I can roll a d6 and create rations that taste good, but they're unsettling. So, I thought of a great flavor. I don't have a warhammer. I have a cast iron pan.
Roll
Bopping.
2d10, and those will be the scrolls you get.
I'm sorry, did you make Amon unsettling food with a cast iron pan?
Okay,
He has other
so
Amon features too. It's kind of funny.
one of your scrolls is the 9 violet signs, unknown, unknot the storm, and then the other one is palms open the southern gate.
Okay. Yeah. So I grab the loot, and I then fuck off.
Okay, that's pretty much all the movement you had. So
Yeah.
you do manage to grab them, and just so I don't have to do the bookkeeping later, now you know what they are.
Okay.
And they're on page 35. That's 1 and 6 on page 35.
Oh, you got leaning.
All right. Is that everybody who hasn't gone?
I bopped, third rolled around, and Krex stole stuff. So yeah, I think so.
Okay. There's still two guys. Did you kill? Is there one guy left?
No, I didn't do enough damage. Remember, I the armor
So
saved him.
that's right. I thought it was going to be one, but he did. You did no damage essentially.
There's
Okay.
a wounded guy and a guy with a "What are you, Jim?" On his face.
Yeah.
A pale other earthly creature.
Okay. This time they are both going to attack. You know what? I'll tell you what. One of them will attack Jim, the one who's not being ridden, and Jim will attack the one he thinks he can hit. So 1d20 to each of you.
All right.
Okay. Third, roll the damage, please.
What does
Okay.
using an omen do?
You
That's
can reduce the damage to a d6, up to a
correct
d6.
by a d6. At
And
this point, that's what it does.
all right. And do I die at -4 out of my 4 or
Yes.
-8 out of my
-4.
-4? That would bring me to -5, so I'm gonna go ahead and use my omen.
Okay. You want a 2 or better. Okay. You take
Definitely a
no
2 or
damage.
better.
All
All
right.
right.
He stabs down at you, and at the last moment, his weight shifts oddly from the weight on his back, and you seize the opportunity to scoot slightly to the side, and the blade strikes under you uh, just as you lift your shoulder.
I
All
would
right.
like to complain even louder.
Yeah, it's not very comfortable.
I'm loving the clusterfuck of this fight.
Yeah. And they're both just going to scream profanity at this point, um, cursing your whore mothers and such.
If you can't be effective, at least be annoying. Mission accomplished.
Yeah. Okay. And that's it for them.
All right, I guess I will boop again. The guy that's not my horse. All right, 2 damage to him.
Okay. He is looking hurt.
Then Krex slinks back to the woods.
Yeah, Craig, are you still are you trying to sneak out while they're still
Yes.
distracted? Okay. Yeah. You sneak out as they are still distracted. It's probably the guy who Jim is like on saw you, but he could not give one fuck less right now. It's pretty clear. Okay. Uh, Third.
Am I getting stabbed again?
No, I guess you're still out of commission, aren't you?
Yeah, another 2 rounds
Another
after
2
this.
rounds.
Yikes. Okay.
I
So
would
these
like to
guys.
continue my career as an interior decorator.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
specialize in red floors.
Haha.
All right. So the gentleman who is not currently saddled is going to say, "Sorry, mate, you're on your own," and run back in the building. The other gentleman is going to tell his compatriot to go fuck his mother. And yeah, he's gonna go ahead and make a another attempt to attack Jim. Jim, I think this is slightly harder for him, so
All
modifier
right.
2 in your favor.
All right. So I would, if I'm understanding the defense, I would subtract 2 from the roll then.
Yeah, you're looking for a 10 instead of the normal 12. Still adding your presence.
Yeah, you
Or
don't
not
need to
presence, the
change your
joke.
roll. You just
Okay.
the difficulty is lower.
Okay.
Okay.
So still roll my normal.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, he's unable to connect with you. You kind of like swing over to the side, and since you've got your arm around his neck, you kind of drag him with you as he swings, and he can't get near you. Okay, that's it.
I laugh even more manically.
That's it for them.
All right. Well, I guess I'll play whack-a-mole with the easy target. The head is right in front of me. Ooh, good hit.
All right. Yeah, with a sort of loud metal, like on bone kind of sound, just like this really satisfying hollow thud. Uh, you just hear something just snap in his skull, and he just drops.
All right.
Also on Thurg.
I would like to use my reaction to bleed more and make a particularly inconvenient red spot here.
Yep.
And then Krek is fucking off. So then it's their turn. Do they do anything?
The other one disappears into the room he came from.
Then does it come back around to our turn?
Yes.
Okay. Then I will use a life elixir on Thurg.
A life elixir. Okay.
5 health.
Ooh. I now have 2.
Suboptimal, but could be worse. Okay, so, yeah.
So they're all dead outside?
Everybody who did not go back inside, all the baddies are dead. And Thurg, I'm pretty sure you're still under 2 corpses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll start helping Thurg get out.
I'll let Jim do all the heavy lifting, as a proper noble should.
Okay. So I guess Thurg just sits there and complains about how you're shifting the weight wrong and it's hurting his leg the whole time.
Yes. My jester isn't the only annoying one in my party.
Yeah, well, the jester shakes a bell on a stick at you.
Yeah, I'll meet back up with them afterwards. I was like, so I guess I could have gone better.
Quite so, alas.
Did you kill them all, or did any of them get away?
One of the scoundrels has fled.
Only one?
Well, there are more than 4.
What's the church made out of?
That's stone.
Hmm.
A lot of it's surrounded by like mud and dirt.
Oh, right, but we can't just,
That, like,
light the church on fire with them inside it.
What's
I
the
mean, it
floor
doesn't
made
seem
out
like that would be easy. No.
of? Is the floor stone as well, or is it wood?
The floor in the rooms you've seen are stone.
Ah, okay.
All right. But considering we're out of the fight, I guess we, catch our breath and have a drink, which should restore some HP, right?
Yeah, there's that's just basically short rest rules. Are they on this table here somewhere? I don't see them.
They're in the manual on like page 31.
Okay.
Catch your breath, have a drink, restore D4.
Yeah,
Sounds right to me.
you guys should probably do that.
Well, Jim doesn't have a
So
drink.
where are you guys doing that?
He licks his warhammer clean.
Well, I mean, I imagine we slip away from the church, right?
Okay. Do you keep
Yeah.
it in eyesight?
I would, yes,
Okay.
but trying to be hidden.
All right. You probably notice that the front door closes
Uh-huh.
while you guys are sitting around drinking.
No problems during the rest.
No. I think it goes without a hitch.
Yay, 4 health.
Yay, back to full.
I have 5 total.
I don't.
After the door closes, while you guys are resting, you do see uh, 2 more guards wearing similar attire walk out through the door, grab one of the bodies, and bring it inside. And then very quickly afterward, they grab the other body and bring it inside. And then the door closes again.
Did either one of those 2 guards look like the one that we were fighting?
From this distance, it might not be super easy to tell, but neither of them looked like they were bloody or filthy.
Okay. So he either cleaned himself up or there's at least 3 inside.
Is there a well near this church, like on the outside?
You don't see one that's obvious, but yeah, you can look around and see if there's a well.
I'd like to.
Absolutely. I mean, it makes sense to me that there would be something like that. Sure.
Okay.
Let's say you have a just a small stone well uh, outside. It's boarded up, um, and there is a little bit of dirt that's come down on it. But like, so the overhang that normally keeps the rain out, uh, you know,
Okay.
has fallen in.
Oh, so it looks like it's in disrepair.
Yeah, but it looks recent. It looks like that was from the earthquake today.
Ah, okay. Is there a bucket next to it?
Yeah, half buried in the dirt.
Okay. Uh, is the bucket full of water? Oh wait,
No.
you said it's half bare. Okay, can I? Is the if I just like move some of the debris away, is the well functional?
Um, You probably can't tell without moving some things and getting some of the like. You'd have to clear away the mud that's on top, and then take the cover off. But I mean, it looks like the cover's intact as far as you can tell.
Okay. And it's been like an hour, right, with our rest with the drink and
Yeah.
all that. Okay. So, yeah, I'd like to fill the bucket and leave the bucket at the top of the well with water in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd like to pull out my ochre tablet and do some meta alchemy on it.
Okay. That sounds fine. This is
Okay.
fine.
So I got to make a presence DR12.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I transmute it into 2 doses of red or black poison.
Okay. What's your pick your poison?
What's the difference between them? I didn't notice red or
I
black
don't
poison
know.
described anywhere.
I don't know. Let's see where they are described.
Here we are. I'll choose black poison.
Okay, yeah, I found it. DR14 or D6 damage and blind for an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So you make some poison. And it is
Yes,
in the
bucket. At which point I leave it at the top of the well.
Mm-hmm.
And I fuck off.
Okay. Yeah, you return to the group in the woods, I guess. And what now?
Well, I would almost say we should wait, because they're going to need water at some point, especially with their injuries, and see if they come, keeping that well in the church in sight, and see if they come and use it thinking it's just water.
I'm game. I always love watching people poison themselves.
Okay.
Basically, I'm thinking we should kind of camp out outside this church, and then eventually take the equivalent of a long rest here.
Yeah, that sounds fine to
We're
me.
going to lay siege to this church without them knowing it.
All right.
A stealthy siege.
So yeah, you guys hang out in the woods for a little while, and another couple of minutes go by, maybe a half hour, and then there's a guard who comes out, and he walks uh, over to the spot where the fight was, and he picks up like a sword that he forgot to get when they went out before, and he he looks over and he sees that young squire's corpse off on the side, and he drags that inside, and then him and another guard come out, and they seem to be having a conversation, and one of the two is uh, bloody, and so they walk over to the well, and the guard in the clean uniform grabs the bucket, and he takes a big swig of the water, and then he takes another one, and then he looks over at his friend, and he just tosses the bucket at him, splashes him with a lot of liquid, and begins to laugh at him. Can you go ahead and make uh, 2 rolls for that gentleman? Okay, I don't think that first one goes well for him.
Probably not.
So, yeah, roll a d6 damage for me. Okay, and I don't think his armor helps him with poison damage.
I would imagine, considering he imbibed it, it's already past the armor.
Yeah. So, yeah. So he's sitting there laughing at his friend, and then he stops laughing and he starts yelling. And his friend, who's pretty pissed that he just had a bucket thrown at him, goes over and pushes him. And he falls in the well. The damp gentleman looks down there, and you're pretty sure he spits into the well and makes a rude gesture at the gentleman at the bottom. And he grabs the sword that the other guy dropped and goes back inside.
Well then.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah.
Well, at least we know they're not really good friends.
Right?
Knocks him down a well, walks away.
But yeah, so you guys are gonna rest.
I think that would be wise.
Yeah.
All right.
With my Silent Hill nursing skills, can I get Thurg a splint for his leg?
Well, yeah, that's fine. Mechanically, I don't think there's any huge long-term implications now that you've taken care of it. He probably walks with a limp, but in a pinch, he can do what he
Yep.
needs to do.
Like, no,
Um,
I just put a splint on it. I didn't set the bone or anything.
yeah. Okay, so it's still too early in the day for you guys to sleep, so you'll have to wait around a while before you can like do an early bedtime.
Yeah, we're watching
Well,
this church.
yeah, we're gonna keep watching the church. Okay, here's a question, Adrian. It's a rules question.
Mm-hmm.
It says I can transform a container of liquid in one of the following ways. Some listing, including making the dose as a poison. Would a well be considered a container of liquid?
That might be the case depending on uh how large the actual uh like the body of water is. Like if we're talking um tens of gallons, yes. More than a couple hundred gallons, probably no.
I mean, if it's an aquifer, is not an aquifer surrounded by impermeable rock not a container? I'm joking.
I mean,
Point is, I would like
Technically,
to, if we got some time, sneak over to the well and attempt to poison the well itself using my meta alchemy.
I mean, I'm happy to allow it.
Okay.
well, the dead body down there certainly ain't gonna help.
Probably not, but it's also going to be black poison. It's all black poison, all the way down now.
So you go over there to poison the well.
Yes.
And you can tell that there is a gentleman kind of blindly stumbling around down there. But you successfully poison the well.
Okay.
He doesn't seem to notice you.
Probably not. No. Is there like any loose masonry up here at the top?
Yeah.
Can I just
Absolutely.
drop heavy rocks on him from up above until it kills him?
Yeah, you can drop a couple bricks down there and see how it goes. You can just make some attack rolls at him.
Oh, I want to help.
These would be ranged, right?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. Yeah, sure. First rock, that's going to be a hit. I think that's normally I'd say a D4. but at this distance down and the fact that he's basically a fish in a barrel, let's call it 2d4. Wow. Okay, well, he's still wearing his helmet, so there's a loud crack and a rock hits him in the head. And he yells, "Ow!" And then he calls out to Fergal and says to throw him a rope.
I drop another brick.
Okay. Roll another 2d4. Okay. Uh, this brick hits the same spot in his helmet, which was damaged before, and he sinks into the water.
I'd like to confirm the kill and drop another rock.
Okay. I don't know. You just hear a sploosh.
Okay. How, I look around. Does it look like anybody's noticed me?
It doesn't seem like it.
Alright, I'd like to lower the rope in the well down there with the bucket. And then climb down.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. I'd like to retrieve any valuables off his corpse. Armor, weapons, money,
All right.
scrolls.
Roll 66.
I'm not going to take his water skin because that's contaminated at this point.
Also just rude.
Okay, 27. Oh, not 27. Uh, sorry. A D66 is what I meant. A D66. And that really means 2d6.
So 3-5.
Yeah, we'll use that. 3-5 is. Oh, that's a weird one. A note with the name Jim, Krek, Thurg, and Crow. And we'll say Thurg is crossed out.
Interesting.
Ah, joke's on them.
Okay. Is that all I find on him?
Yep.
Is his armor in usable shape?
Most of it.
What kind of armor is it?
It's just light armor. It's like leather.
Well, I don't have any armor, so I would like to take his.
You can do that.
Alright, I take his leather armor.
Reasonable.
And then I climb out of the well and rejoin the party.
Okay. Yeah. You are dripping with poison, but as long as you don't lick your armor, you're probably fine.
Ah, shit.
Am I still glowing, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. As a matter of fact, you had no trouble seeing what you were doing down there.
Excellent.
Oh no, you're soaking wet. Let me lick it up for you and
You
clean
just
it
had to
off.
hold your hand up to whatever you were doing.
That's convenient.
No, the reason I laughed and said, oh no, is one of my other randomly
Yeah.
rolled feats. Compelled to lick things clean.
Well, I rejoined the party, my armor and
Yeah.
stuff all soaked.
Yeah, there's some sort of black like fluid dripping from Krek's armor.
Well, I think I would go with things as in like small objects, not people. I don't think I
Fair.
would try licking Crack.
You may lick Krek clean if you so wish. He will allow it.
This character is so fucking weird.
I mean, I don't know, man. You play him how you want to. I know what I would do.
In the metagame interest of keeping my character alive, I will say it will be small objects he likes to lick, not beings. Like
Okay.
his Warhammer, for example. He licked all the blood off of that during the short rest.
Oh yeah, by the way, I found this note and I hand you the waterlogged note.
I start licking it.
Okay. Make your roll.
What is this even going to be for resisting poison?
It's toughness.
Yeah.
Toughness? Okay. Oh,
It does
excellent. It's a
specify.
-1.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah. You're fine.
Krek looks disappointed.
No, I don't care.
Yeah. Your vision does go a little dark for a few seconds, but you could still see even during that. So it's not raining anymore. It's actually been kind of dead quiet. You have seen a lot of snakes just kind of slithering around
Yeah,
all day, pretty much.
yeah,
Since
that's
you
kind of
left.
weird.
Ooh, can I catch snakes?
I mean, there are plenty of snakes. You pretty much literally any direction you go, if you walk away from camp, there's a bunch of snakes around.
Well, then how many can I get in a sack that would hold 10 objects?
I don't know. I guess that the answer to that is, you could get 10 snakes if you can get 10 snakes.
Okay. I try to get 10 snakes.
Okay. So you walk up to, I don't know. There's like a pile of snakes not far from camp. You're not sure how many snakes there are.
I'm very sure how many there are. There's between one and more than one.
He might be right. He might be onto something.
I think we're going to go with his estimate. That's a pretty good estimate.
So you're gonna try to get a snake.
I'm trying to get multiple snakes. Yes.
Okay. Roll initiative. Is anyone with him?
I don't think anybody followed me.
I don't think they did.
No, I think like he's probably doing this while I was at the well.
Okay.
I made a mental note of where he went to tell Krek where he went when Krek gets back and Jim still isn't here.
So it's
All
your
right.
turn first.
How do I grapple a snake?
There's just a mass of snakes. I mean, you can just grab a snake and put it in a bag. That's not even a roll.
All right. So that's just an
But
action.
there are many, many snakes, and they are all going to notice you as you do this.
Jim doesn't mind. He wants to fill a sack with snakes so he can throw it at somebody.
Oh no, more snakes are gonna find their way in my bag. What a tragedy.
Yeah, like I'm not even going to grab an individual snake. If they're all just like writhing in a mass like a mating ball, I'm just gonna reach in there and grab as many as I can with a handful
Okay.
and shove it in the sack.
Sure. Roll it. Roll a d6. Okay. You manage to keep 3 in your hand. You grab more than 3 initially, but they slither off. They're hard to keep a hand on, and you stuff them in your bag.
Sweet.
At this
All
point,
right,
it is now their
that's
turn.
my turn.
Um. Okay. Uh. Go ahead and make 12 d20 rolls, please.
Like agility check or armor,
Yeah,
like
they're all
defense.
attacks. Your defense rolls. So for every failure, you take 1 damage. They pierce. They if you're not wearing like some kind of heavy armor, if it's
I'm
light,
wearing leather.
they're just gonna bite right through it and deal 1 damage for each one.
Okay, I'm still is so over 12 is a hit.
Um, those are your defense rolls. So, uh,
So
you
under
want
12 is a hit.
under 12 is a hit. Yeah.
Is my Jester with him by chance?
I don't see why he would be.
He got bored of annoying Thurg and followed me.
What was that? 4? 4 hits?
Looks like.
Okay. So you take 4 damage.
So I'm at 0 then. So that's a D4, right?
Yep.
Oh, where's that chart? What do I want? So I want a 1. Not a 3. Hemorrhaging is bad.
Hemorrhaging is not good, no. Nobody really can do anything for you.
On a scale of 1 to 10, that's not
But you
good.
can do something for yourself. Maybe.
Technically, yeah, I can treat myself. Because I'm not unconscious, right?
You're not unconscious.
Okay.
You just have fallen down and you're feeling woozy, and there are many, many snakes, all just kind of like slithering in your direction and onto you.
All right.
That's all they do. It is your turn.
Okay. Well, I am going to let's see. Mathematically, if I grab more snakes right now, there's less snakes that can attack me. So I'm going to grab more snakes.
Okay, roll a d6.
There's a tactical limitation of your bag.
Okay, you get 6 snakes in the pack.
Yep. That's 9
You
in the
have
bag.
9
then.
snakes.
All right. Well, I can't. I mean, can I get up and move while I'm hemorrhaging? Like, if I have enough
Yeah.
snakes, I'm just going to leave.
Yeah, you can get up and move.
All right. Is there any opportunity attack mechanic here or no?
It's not opportunity attacks, but you don't really have the ability to move faster than them mechanically. So effectively, there is. They are going to attack you.
Okay, but just on their turn.
Yeah, but
Okay.
you only
All right.
get attacked 6 times.
Yep. All right. So I'll repeat that for 6 then.
And there are more snakes. It's just that's the number that were close enough that they were after you.
2 hits.
So 2 hits. And keep in mind, if you're at negative max, you are deceased.
Yep. Well, I'm at 0 and I have 5 more to go. So.
Okay. So negative 2 out of 5.
Yep. All right. So if I'm not, can I move faster if I don't take an action? Like, can I dash? Run away?
There's not really a mechanical answer to that. I'll say yes, but they don't appear to be pursuing you after that.
Okay. Okay. So they just followed me a little bit, bit me some more, and then I kept walking. They're like, ah, it's too far
It
from our
seems
nest. Fuck off.
reaching your hands out and getting in their space causes them to not be happy with you.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, then I head back to the party, battered and broken and bleeding, and then sit
Okay,
down.
you're covered in tiny puncture marks and a lot of blood.
Wait till Krek gets back, because this is gonna be hilarious. All right. Yeah. So I'll sit down. I'll use 1 charge of the med kit to stop my bleeding.
Okay, so is there a roll for that?
No, just a D6 for health.
Okay, that's good. I don't believe that one is the one that helped with hemorrhaging, right? That's the one we
Yep.
said helped.
Yeah, the med kit is stops bleeding.
That's because now you don't have to roll, because that would really suck.
Yeah. Yeah, because there is no skill challenge for it. You just instantly heal somebody. Or
Yeah.
instantly stop the bleeding so you don't have to worry about the DR16.
Correct.
All right,
All
so I'm back up to 4 health again. And when Krek gets back from his adventure to the well, I hold out my sack to him, smiling and giggling.
Yep.
The
He's
sack
got
you
a
can
sack of
clearly
snakes.
see is it's clearly writhing with snakes inside of it.
They don't seem to be happy about it.
Yeah. Yeah, he hands me the sack. I'd like shake it a little bit just to see if there's anything valuable in there. And when it's just snakes, I just hand it back after having agitated all the snakes.
Okay. And you can see there are fangs sticking out of the sack. There's like one snake who's got like his mouth stuck all the way open, and there's four fangs that are just barely poking through the side of the bag.
Yeah, that'll be great. Throw it in some enemies.
That was the idea. Of course, I don't say anything. I mean, all my character does is mutter incoherently and smile and laugh sometimes, manically.
Okay. So, um, before too long, it starts to get dark, and yeah, you guys can hunker down for an actual rest.
Yay. I think we just keep a rotating watch.
All right. There's some spooky sounds in the woods, but nothing too untoward happens. But dawn approaches. We must flip a coin. Roll a d2. Okay, roll a d66 for me.
52.
Psalm 5 2. Give me 1 second.
And then we need to do all of our player mechanics done, right, too?
Yep. Oh,
All our omens and present rolls.
Psalm 5. The trees shall wither, shrivel, and die.
Am I still glowing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think that one goes away.
No, it does not. Um, and those of you who slept in camp with him, you feel mildly ill the next morning. No, but yeah, all these evergreen trees are like they start to turn brown, like it's unnaturally quickly. They all seem to be dying.
Huh.
Ooh, I get 3 omens today,
Like the
and
needles are dropping off of these trees, and everything's they're making like creaking sounds, and you can hear that a few of them are just falling down in the woods, and uh, yeah, they clearly seem to have developed some sort of fast moving rot.
Well then,
I can levitate.
so, do we want to see if there's anything more valuables in the church to hit? But like, they don't emerge from the church to go to the well for like breakfast or anything like that.
Um, I mean, not at the time you're doing breakfast. I mean, you guys went to bed really early, so you also got up right at the crack of dawn. Um, do you continue to wait around after your rest is finished?
We should probably wait around a few hours, let them poison themselves first before we try to take the church.
All right. Yeah. A a guard goes outside, and he walks over to the well, and he starts raising up the bucket. I don't think you ever took it out of the well.
Nope.
And he gets it, and he goes inside, and then he comes back with the empty bucket, and he does it again. He goes back inside, And then a little bit more time passes. This time it's not as quick, but he does come back and go back a third time and get more water and go back.
Sucks to be them. Based on bucket size and consumption, can we make an educated guess of how many people are in there?
Well, I mean, one bucket would be enough to give everybody more than enough for drinks for breakfast. Like if everybody just needs, a cup of water, um, that's more than plenty. But 3 buckets, I mean, they could,
Cooking.
yeah, they could be cooking and also serving drinks. And I mean, it's less clear, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a thought.
It's not enough to draw a bath.
That stinks.
Yeah, so do they.
All right.
Then we wait.
Okay. About another half hour passes, and yeah, nothing happens. Nobody goes outside.
Well, we should probably approach then. Try to be stealthy about it.
All right. Approach the building. You are successfully stealthy about it.
Okay. Well, we should probably sneak into that door. They've been coming out to get from the water.
Okay. Um, I think they probably used the opposite door, the one that you guys never opened. Um, but yeah,
Well, when we went in through that first door, did we see like that? It like both doors open up to the same atrium or something?
no, they don't.
Okay. Well, then in that case, I think we should try to stealthily kind of crack the door a bit and see what's inside.
Okay. Yeah. So you crack the door open and you peer inside, and there is a long banquet table set with maybe 20 chairs. And at the far end, there's an old man, hooded, with a long beard, um, just sitting at the head of the table. He does not appear to have noticed you.
Any other doors in that room that I see?
There is a door on the north wall on the left, and then there is a door on the east wall as well. That's on the right side of the room. Right,
Based on the
John?
layout of the building that I've seen so far, would one of those doors lead to that atrium with the bookshelf?
The door that's on the east wall would probably lead to the room that the guards came from, past the room with the bookshelf. I could get you a little map. Hold on.
Okay.
Ah.
is the room where the guards were. You could see into the room a little as they came in, but you couldn't see all of the room. And then and I can count, the description says more chairs than there are in the picture, but I don't think it's that relevant.
Oh, when you said a table with 20 chairs, I was thinking of 5 to the side, so.
Oof.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Well, hmm. Yeah, fuck. Let's just try and sneak inside. Maybe he was blinded by the water.
Okay. You make your way through the door to respond. There's not really anything to hide behind here.
Well, I'm
So
banking on the fact that he's blind.
yeah, so he's just sort of staring, kind of blankly in the distance
Okay.
as you enter the room.
He doesn't call out or anything?
No.
Great. We should probably just sneak past him to that north door then, the one that goes deeper into the church. Good shit's
Okay.
always in the back.
All right. Yeah, you walk past the banquet table, um, and you do notice that there are some spilled drinks, um, and like some wet spots on the floor, um, and a small amount of, not like a large amount of blood. Um, not really near him, but near some of the other seats, and um, like a very small trickle of blood kind of heading toward the guards room over there, vaguely. But yeah, you can head to the north door.
Yeah, we're still trying to be stealthy.
Okay, give me a second. You reach the north door. He doesn't seem to notice you. I mean, you guys are really close to him to get there. Like you're only a couple feet from him.
Has he made like the small, like involuntary movements people make when they're actually alive?
He does look like his chest is rising and falling.
Okay.
Been pretty much stone silent. I mean, if you listen closely, you can kind of hear sort of a slightly raspy breath. It just sounds like an old man breathing.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's
Um,
crack the door and see what's beyond it.
okay. Yeah. Um, let's see. It's dark. It's cold. There's a light coming from the end of the corridor. You hear faintly some violin music. Long hallway, and it looks like it opens up into a room at the end.
Well, let's sneak our way down there.
Okay. Whoever has the highest presence, go ahead and make a presence roll as you walk your way down the hall.
All right. Oh, I have a 2. Anyone have higher than that?
Only one. And it's also my only stat that's not a 0.
I'd say I have 0. So, well, be you, Crick.
Okay. At hall, you notice that uh, there are some lines sort of visible in the floor, like there's a uh, like there's here about halfway down the hallway.
Okay, so it's like a pressure plate, or
It looks like it. It looks like the floor opens up.
Ah, okay. Um, I kind of point at the trapdoor and make like trapdoor motions with my hand. And how long is it? Like if I wanted to go, if I wanted to jump across, is how far?
You probably it's too long to just step across, but with a hop, I don't think it's an incredible athletic challenge or anything.
Okay. Yeah, I just hop over it then.
Sure. That's I'm gonna say it's, but it's like a 6. Your DR is a 6.
For agility.
Yeah.
Oops.
Can I use an omen on his roll?
No,
Okay.
Well, I think I'm going to use an omen to re-roll that.
that's acceptable. Yes. Okay. Yeah. You kind of click your heels on the back of it and lose your balance briefly, and it does set off the door, so it opens up. Um, but you do not fall in.
Yeah, I then kind of continue sneaking forward while motioning for the other people to follow behind as stealthily as they can.
Say, you get like the smell of sulfur coming through that pit, and yeah,
Well, I'll look. What's in the pit? Can I see?
absolutely. Um, it's sort of like cave walls, and they're gem encrusted. Green, pink, and violet gems sort of fixed into the wall. You can hear that violin music much more loudly. Um, Strong sulfur smell. There's some sort of kind of oily black substance as well, that sort of uh, seems to be on the north end of this room. Craig cannot see it, but Thurg and Jim can probably see it from the south side of this hallway. Just a little bit. It looks like almost like a pool or a lake of this black substance.
Okay.
So, Craig, you proceed north. Is that what you said? Further
Yes.
down the hall. All right. So in this room, there is a small pump, um, and at it's got like a dragon head for the spout, um, and there is a black oily substance dripping out of it into a stone vessel in front. There are oil lamps hanging from the ceiling. There are 3 of them. Um, there's another hatch in the floor in this room. Um, there is what appears to be a deceased, or at least profoundly unwell man laying face down on top of it. Um, and on the east wall, there's a hole in the wall.
Well, I look through the hole.
Okay. So you can see into a tall chamber. And looking into the hole, you sort of realize you're looking down, um, at this pool of this sludge. And sort of in the middle of the pool, there's this pillar. It's like a column rising up out. Um, it's a stone pillar, and atop the stone pillar, there are and they are playing violin.
There's a what you cut off.
There are a pair of skeletons on top of the pillar, and they are playing violin music.
Okay. That's weird. Is there any other exits from that room?
And there they are. Exits from the room that you're looking into the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the middle of the room, there's this big pool of sludge, um, and it looks like the room extends north and south, um, further, but the hole is sort of narrow and you can't quite see. You do, however, see that on the far side of also extends out a little further, and there is a north and a south facing door.
What do you guys think? Just try to sneak our way through the room to those doors?
That's fine.
Well, Jim's input.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. We sneak forward, trying to get to those two doors.
So it is unclear which way you're going because the way you see those doors is to a hole in a wall.
How big is this hole?
It's big enough to see through. If you really wanted to squeeze through, you probably could force yourself through it, but I mean, directly in front of you is a drop into a pool of some strange. Don't know that you want to do that.
I guess I'm having trouble visualizing the layout.
Well, I will give you a little more map.
Thanks.
Okay. So you guys are in the room with the pump, and that is at the end of that long hallway. Against that wall on the eastern side of that room, there is a crack in the wall that you can kind of see into this other room, which appears to be a floor below you, but twice like it's just got vaulted ceilings, so you can see in there.
Ah, okay. This actually makes some differences. Okay.
The red is the trap door you jumped over, and then
Yeah.
there's also a hatch.
Well, let's open up that hatch and see if there's like any nice way down, or if it's just a
Absolutely.
hole.
So you roll the corpse off the hatch, and let's see, what does it say about that hatch? Just says it goes down. It looks like it just goes down uh, into that same room as far as you can tell. The ladder is freestanding, and you can kind of see a little more of the room. Okay, so the north end of this room appears to have some sort of large ovens. Let me actually open the description itself so I can tell you in slightly better detail. All right. So, let's see. Uh, there's, it looks like a single torch sort of dimly illuminating the room on this north side. Um, there's a lot of trash and bones. Uh, let's see. Uh, it's all sort of basically there's a bunch of trash sort of pouring out of this doorway on the north side. Um, there's a little bit of torchlight. There's some light from the forges, um, those ovens, basically. Um, and there are chunks of meat hanging from ceiling hooks. There's a pretty decent amount of blood dripping down from them. You could kind of see the shadows of all the hanging meat in the image. They're all on the north side. Uh, let's see, yeah. Uh, and it looks kind of like basically this is a big room where the floor collapsed, and underneath the floor is this huge pool of this black sludge. Um, it's hard to say how deep it is. It doesn't look great. There's this sulfuric smell pouring out, and this sort of faint haze. Uh, I don't know. There's some kind of fume emanating from it. There's a wooden door. I've mentioned it's ajar on the north side that leads into a room where there's bones spilling out. Um, and I think that's about all it has to say.
All right, but there is a ladder to go down there.
Yep.
I say let's take the ladder.
Okay. Y'all take the ladder down?
I do.
I'll follow him.
Okay. So Krek, you make it down first. Jim, you make it down second. Thurg, with your broken leg, you make your way down slowly in the rear. And yeah, Thurg, you're about halfway down the ladder when a large man emerges on the south end of the room. He's dragging a body behind him. He has his back to you guys. He's walking backwards to that door on the south side. With this body, he just sort of tosses it into the pool. And without turning around, he walks back through that doorway.
The pool of big black liquid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. So what's taking like a more detailed look around here? What's down here? Like on this side of things.
Um, various knives, cleavers. Um, there's a hatchet. It there's a lot of hanging meat, and most of it looks human.
I see. The old hag at the very start of this whole thing referred to a child stealer. Do these cuts of meat appear to be from children or from adults?
Um, they don't look picky. There
So both.
are, yeah.
Missing children are more noticeable, though. That'd be my thought.
All right. As you guys are rummaging around on the north side, this large man um, walks back through that doorway, dragging another body. This one wearing fine clothes and sort of dumps it as well into the pit.
Hmm. All right. Well, let's say there's a door to the east on this side.
Mm-hmm.
Can we quietly make our way over there and take a peek inside?
Absolutely. Yeah. As you open the door, just large numbers of bones spill out all over the place. Um, it's literally just trash and bones. It's many bones. You would have to climb over them to get to the other door, but there is another door on the south side of this room.
Does it look like it'd connect back somewhere that we've seen?
It looks like it would connect back into the same room you were in on the other side of the sludge. Yeah. I didn't really describe it, but on the far side of the sludge, they're like in the same room. There's a black statue, um, and yeah, there's not like a lot going on there. You actually see the back of the statue from where you're at, so it's hard to tell what it's a statue of. Um, yeah, and then the door on the south wall is made of iron.
All right. Well, let's. This room's just trash. So let's go to the iron door.
Okay. In order to get to the iron door, you'll have to kind of climb over all the trash and then make your way to this other door and then go through the room with the statue.
Well, no, I want to get to the statue.
You just have to climb over the trash to do that.
Unless you want to go through the sludge pool.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. Yeah, I want to climb over the trash and get to that statue.
Okay, you can do that.
Does this statue? Do I recognize it? Is this some familiar thing?
Okay. So this is a statue of a man you would recognize. He's the one-eyed king, Leonard II. There is this obvious empty cavity where his eye would be. Yeah.
Background lore I'm not super familiar with. Who's Leonard II?
I don't know that it is important.
Okay, just a king. Got it. All right, can I like search for like the statue in this plinth to see if there's any like secret compartments, hidden things?
Absolutely. Yeah. Uh, I guess that is probably like a presence roll.
No, guess not.
No.
All right,
You think his crown might come off, but it doesn't.
nuts. All right, well let's move on then. Iron door to the south from here.
Yeah.
Anything to the east that was out of sight previously?
The east is a wall.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if that was like unknown area or a wall. Anyway, okay, yeah, so we'll go to the iron door.
Okay. So your iron door. Yeah, it looks like a big iron door. Do you just try to open it?
I'd like to check and see if it's like trapped or alarmed in some way.
Okay. That's probably another presence roll. It's probably alarmed. It's probably way too dangerous to open it.
Okay. Are the hinges on this side or the far side?
The hinges are on this side.
All right, let's pop the pins on the hinges. The door's probably trapped, so we just want to kind of breach it all at once.
Okay.
Do we have any problems popping the pins out of the hinges?
I don't think you'd have too much trouble. But someone should probably do a strength roll.
Yeah, you don't want me doing that.
I mean, it's -1 for me. What are you at, Burger?
0.
You're the best
Okay.
one in the group.
You're the strongest.
I have
Alright,
-1 as well.
Mediocrity.
Does having a metal file and lockpicks help at all?
Yeah, actually, that probably gives you something you could pop in to the pin and make it a little easier.
Ah, perfect.
A 6. I don't think
Maybe
this
not
was
that
that easy. It was pretty easy, but not that easy.
Unfortunate. omens we don't get back on when we rest, do we?
You get one a day, or you get you reroll them every day.
Yeah, your
Um,
power and your omen you should roll.
Yeah, if you
I don't
didn't do it
think
when you guys left and rested, then do it now.
I don't think I have any powers.
Well, then, still omens though.
Alright, what do I get for omen? I got two.
Okay.
Fuck it, I'll use an omen here.
Okay.
No reason to blow or cover this soon. So what do I do with that on this?
You just roll your thing again.
Ah. Hey, that's even worse.
Yeah. No.
Hmm.
Okay. So while you're sitting there hammering your tools, the door opens.
I throw my
Um,
bag of snakes at whoever it is.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead and yeah. I guess that's a ranged attack. So make a presence roll. Okay. You have
The
15
snakes
snakes,
go
do you
off.
not?
Is 9.
Oh, it's yeah, that's right. There were 15 total. Okay, make 9 attacks.
What do you want me to roll a d20 for the snake, or what would be the attack?
They're just d20. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me see what this guy's stats say about his armor situation. Okay, so that's a d4 for all of them. Okay, fine.
It's 7 hits. It looks like.
Let me see. Normally it's 12 plus a d4. Let's just do this. Hold on. All right, let's total these up. So, uh, so he has defense rolls. The first one fails either way. Second one passes. Third one passes. Fourth one passes. Fifth one passes. Oh no. So it's annoying because I'm having you do attack rolls, and I shouldn't be having him do this. Uh, let me just do it this way. We're just
I
gonna
should
make
have
it as
I
simple
should
as
have rolled
possible.
90-20 minus
Yeah.
d4 for you.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's 5. But
Okay.
he takes double damage, so he takes 10 damage.
All right.
So he is covered in angry snakes that will not let go, and they are not. He's not very happy about that. I think it's time to roll initiative.
So that's what, just a d6?
Yep, you guys go first.
And it's just one guy?
Yeah, it's one guy.
In
He's a large man. He's like 7 feet tall. He's built like a grizzly bear. He's covered in like black soot. He's bald. He's got tattoos all over him. And
Oh,
snakes.
okay.
Tattoos and snakes all over him.
Ah.
Sorry.
Totally worth it.
Well, I guess I'll just use my palms open the southern gate. a power attempt.
Hmm.
I guess we just won't use powers.
You got any omens?
I do have an omen. I'm going to use it.
Hmm.
Well, it doesn't work. So I take D2 damage and become dizzy.
Okay.
I am now bloodied.
Okay.
I guess I do.
Yeah, powers are they can work, but yeesh, if they don't.
We haven't successfully rolled any yet.
That's not true. I've used my transmute power out of combat several times.
And it was very effective, yeah.
That's true. Apparently, we can't use them in combat.
Okay. Who's next?
I guess I will go over and follow my snakes in with a bonk.
Okay.
I miss.
Yeah, you miss.
So we're
We're
how
fighting a
far are
big
we
dude.
from?
He is right on the other side of the door that we just opened, or just failed opening.
Great.
Then he
Is
opened it.
he? Did he like fling it open, or can I smack him with the door?
He flung it open, and if anything, you probably got smacked with the door. I just didn't have you get injured.
All right. I'm gonna stab him then.
Okay.
Uh,
Godspeed, Spider-Man. Yeah, you stab him. You sure do.
all right, and now I need to find what the
Take a D4 off your damage, by the way. Go ahead and just subtract a D4.
minus a D4. Uh, where is the rule sheet for this?
Ooh,
What does
a
a crit do?
crit.
I found it. All right. So it doubles damage. 4 times 2. And this guy's protection is reduced by 1 tier.
Mm-hmm.
And then minus a D4.
Okay.
I've reduced his
Still, his
whatchamacallit.
armor's not as good. Which his armor
Yeah.
is literally just the fact that he's got like extremely calloused skin. It's like all scar tissue, and yeah.
Gave some of his calluses off. Oh, and the jester gives a +2 to everything, attack and defense for us for this round and next round.
Okay,
That's it for me.
Jim. Oh no, you
I
did. You went
attacks.
before the combat, so you go.
No, I followed it and bonked after my snakes.
Oh,
I
okay.
missed.
All right, so everybody's done.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. So he is. Let's see. Oh my.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, we'll do this for his first round. Roll a d4 for me.
What's the worst that could possibly happen?
3. Okay. Roll another d4
Thurg's got it. He's already
minus
typing.
1.
D4 minus 1.
Okay. Uh. All right. Crack. You take a D6 damage.
I'm
You
sorry,
are
I phased out that I just heard my name. What?
so yeah. This guy holds up his hand and he chants some weird backward sounding sounds. It sounds like English, but not right. And then or whatever language they speak in what I don't know.
More Borgland.
Swedish.
Yeah. So yeah, he chants some demonic sounding shit, and all of a sudden you can't breathe. Roll a
Ah,
d6.
got it.
Okay. You choke for a d4 health damage per round for 6 rounds. So roll a d4 for your damage this round.
Okay, that puts me at -1.
Okay. So you begin to grasp at your throat. You fall unconscious, and go ahead and roll on the broken table. So roll another d4. Okay. So you have broken or severed a limb. Uh, so I don't know what you fell on. Maybe you smacked your head on the statue, but you're having a bad time.
Yeah. One of my
And
arms is
another
broken.
D4 for the number of rounds you're down.
Oh,
Yep.
There's a lot of rolls for one turn, like
Okay.
2 rounds.
And then he is going to step out of the room and move down into the room through that south door. So it's top of a niche. What are you guys doing?
being unconscious, I
Does
believe.
does the snakes attack?
They do not. As a matter of fact, they all appear to just be on the ground now, just in the doorway.
Okay. Well, I guess I will go over to
Mechanically, basically, they only fuck with you if you poke this. If you poke them, like if you fuck with them, they attack you.
got it. Okay. Then I guess I will go over and throw a life elixir down Kreck's throat.
Okay, that seems appropriate.
Hey, look at that. Back up to full.
Yeah, that put me at 4.
It's fucking miraculous nobody's dead.
If I didn't have this random ass rolled up healing class, yeah, we'd all be dead at this point. The Silent Hill nurse coming in clutch.
I want to just run up on this guy and fucking Talladega Nights come at him like a spider monkey. Just jump
Okay.
on his face and be an obnoxious little fuck.
You can do that.
Was that a strength presence?
I mean, if you're trying to run up on him and attack him, you can make an attack. That's basically just a strength roll, and then an unarmed attack is a D2 for damage.
Um, can I like? I don't know if there's any mechanics for like restraining somebody, but that's what I'm trying to do. Just make it hard for this guy to hit anyone, because I'm not going to do a lot of damage, if
Well,
any.
you could stand in the doorway and interpose yourself so that he has to kill you before he can kill everyone else. You can do
You know
that.
what? That'll work. And then I'll also just poke him.
Okay. You stand in
Just
the
like,
doorway and you stab at him with your pointy metal stick.
I don't think an 8 hits.
That does not hit him.
All right.
Okay. So, Krek, you are undead, or not undead, but undying now.
Yeah.
But you're still unable to act.
I'm also still choking, aren't I?
You are.
Don't I
You
take a
are.
D4 damage then?
On his turn, I believe.
Ah, okay. So yeah, I still can't act for another round.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
he will go ahead and take his turn, and you can go ahead and roll your dice.
does whatever Crux have afflicted by count as an infection?
No.
Okay.
It's a spell effect.
Okay.
All right. So this room he's walked into is just a bunch of hook chains hanging from the ceiling, but there's like a like an iron brazier with a fire going, and he's gonna pick up. He's got a spiked flail, and the end of it, the metal ball, has been sitting in this fire. So he's gonna pick it up, the handle up, and he has a flaming flail now. He is going to turn around and he is going to swing it at the pesky nobleman standing in the doorway.
But consider the following. I'm very pesky. Not pesky enough, though. I think I'd like to use my last omen.
It seems reasonable, yeah.
That's even
Okay.
worse. Again.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a D8. So roll a D8 for his damage.
Oh, and then minus D2.
Yep. So you take 3 damage. By the way, you're also severely burned, so your agility uh, gets a -2 for the rest of the day.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
That's all
Uh,
he's going to do.
Then I get choked, I guess.
Yep.
It's a D4.
Mm-hmm. You still
Well,
up?
yeah, I got 1 hit point left.
That's enough hit points. Okay, it's everybody else's turn.
Well, this is the last turn before I can act, so I'm still unable to do anything.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess I'll walk back over and bonk him.
Okay. Yeah, you have a hard time getting around Thurg. He's still in the doorway.
I will do my job as a nobleman, complain loudly, and get people around me killed.
As one does.
13 hit.
That's a hit. Subtract a D4 from your damage, or a D2 actually, because you adjusted it. Okay. Okay. So
That
he
tracks.
seems not to be too phased by that.
That is exactly what I'd expect out of a noble. That's my turn.
Okay. So it's his turn.
Correct.
He's gonna raise his flail again and attack the nobleman standing in his way. Also, he's gonna tell you to get out of his house.
Minus 2 to agility. Hey.
Okay. So you take a D8 damage.
Armor. I take 2 health. That puts me to -1.
Okay.
Which means.
Roll on the broken table, please.
Hmm.
Okay. He probably broke a limb with this. What did he
Yes.
break?
Probably a rib
Okay.
or several ribs.
Yeah, you have broken ribs. Congratulations. Breathe that sweet, sweet air.
Why does the air taste like iron? Alright, can't act for D4 rounds. That
Okay. And Krek, you got to do your roll.
Which
For,
roll?
for the D4 on suffocation.
Yep.
Well, I'm now at 0.
Okay. Roll on the broken table.
Will you guys stop going down?
I'm now
Oh,
hemorrhaging.
Okay,
Yay.
so you smack your head when you fall down on that same spot you hit on the statue before, and now you're bleeding.
Who put the sharp ass statue here?
That would be aesthetically pleasing.
The snakes.
Unfortunately,
The
I can't
snakes
heal
were your
both of
only
you.
hope. You're so fucked. Okay.
Yeah, I was hoping like they'd, be irritated and bite him multiple rounds and do a lot of damage, but
I
guess
mean,
not.
honestly, Thurg is standing like directly over them at this point, so they're probably just like fucking off in all directions.
Yeah.
Okay, it's you guys.
Oh well, they're well technically Krek's not incapacitated, but he's bleeding out.
Yeah, he's having a bad time, but he's awake.
But Thurg is incapacitated, so I will guess use my last healing life elixir on him. Save the
Okay.
so 3 health back to you, Thurg.
Alright, I'm up to 2.
Yeah, I'll save the med kit for Krek because he's bleeding. So
I think I can actually take an action this round.
Okay, go for it.
I'm going to drink my life elixir.
Okay, that seems reasonable.
Hey, I'm back up to full hit points.
Good for you.
That's all I guess I can do.
Okay, Thurg, you're not in a condition to do anything, yeah?
No. I'm
Okay.
stunned for 3 rounds.
I think he liked breaking your ribs. As a matter of fact, he's gonna laugh and then swing his flail down at you again.
Nobles are known for being comedically crunchy.
My God, man.
I might survive for another 4 seconds.
You actually avoid being killed. You roll towards him and basically like onto his feet, and his flail hits the ground where you were.
It's probably more of a fall than a roll.
Yeah, something like that. That's it for him.
Well, on his turn, don't I still get choked for like another 4 rounds?
We had 6 rounds total. I
Okay.
haven't kept track, so however many you have, yeah.
Yeah, I think I've only done that 3 times, so.
Okay, you can do 3 more then. That's fine.
This should be the 4th.
Or how many?
Hey.
What was his total? Did
I
he
thought it
roll
was
6?
6. Yeah.
Okay.
And now I'm bloodied again.
Well, you're not dead.
Indeed. Well, I guess I
You're
might.
still up.
Yeah, so I've got this femur in my kit, and I'm gonna bash him over the head with it.
Okay. Yeah. You run over and try to hit him with the femur. You hit him. That connects. It's a D4 minus a D2. So whatever it is,
Bonk.
it's 0. All right, you swing as hard as you can, and you hit him square in the chest, and he just kind of looks at you.
I guess I can actually attack this round because well, Krek has 2 hours, so I can bandage him later.
Mm-hmm.
We have slightly more immediate concerns.
Yep.
Not that it affected anything this round, but while you're hemorrhaging the first hour, everything's at DR 16. Second hour goes up to DR 18.
Oh,
Unless
that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Well, then I guess I missed.
Well, it didn't really matter. It didn't do anything anyway.
I missed as well. Not fabulously, but nearly there.
Oh my. Oh my. Yeah. It could have been
That was
way worse.
close. Yeah.
I mean, bad is bad enough though, because he's gonna go again.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you're standing on top of the person he was trying to kill, so he's going to try to kill you, Craig.
your worst clown.
So, make a defense roll.
Okay, that is agility. Well, at least agility's. Nope.
Okay. You take a D8 damage.
I'm wearing light armor.
Okay, minus D2.
I'm at 0 again.
Okay. And you're also severely burned, so your agility is at -2 for the rest of the day. But roll on the broken table.
He's clearly afraid of me because he found out I pack spare ribs today.
I'm
Okay,
not.
you fall unconscious for a D4 rounds. So for 4 rounds, but you will wake up with 4 HP. Or a D4 HP.
Yeah.
Which is better than not waking up. Which is still might happen, to be honest. Because he has
Yeah.
4 rounds. Okay, Jim.
I guess I bonk him because nobody else can.
We're both unconscious at his feet.
I'm done healing you guys. Oh, I missed the bonk. Actually, I'm gonna use an omen on that.
Okay.
Still missed the bonk. I'm not gonna waste my other 2 omens.
Okay. He's going to grab the noble by the leg and begin dragging him towards that black pool. He drags him over to the next room, which is the south side of the room with the black pool that you were just in.
So
That's all he
he's
does. He drags Sturk's corpse, or his unconscious or injured body, over to the south side of the room with the black pool.
okay.
That's all he does. Well, he also like hoists him up, like he's about to throw him in.
Well, I guess I pull my saddle back out, and I'll jump up onto his back and try throwing him off balance to pull Thurg away from the pool.
Okay, you can try.
Curious if this would be more of an agility thing.
Yeah, you
Definitely
can use
better at that.
agility. That's fine.
Okay, 'cause I'm definitely better at that. I'm opening that bitch.
Okay.
Goddamn omen, work! You're supposed to be lucky. All right, I'll burn my last omen. I guess. Can I do that on the
Yeah,
same roll?
that's fine with me.
I didn't know if I could do it multiple times.
I don't know. I'm not looking it up.
Dear God,
Oh.
I fall in the pool.
Um,
The omen.
I think all 3 of you fall in the pool.
Well,
I think
that's a positive outcome in
you-
my opinion.
You and the bad guy and Thurg all fall in the pool.
That's a positive outcome in my opinion. I'll take it.
Last round was my last round of not being able to act. Now that we're all in the pool, can I gator death roll this guy?
That's a thought. It's that's a thought. Give me a
What
second,
happens
because
when you
there's
touch the pool?
something I have to deal with now. Because they're not done. The bad guy turn's not over now because you're in the pool, and in the pool is another bad guy.
Ah, friends.
Okay. Um. So I need a defense roll from Jim.
Oh, sure.
That's
There I roll high.
that's a good roll. You're not gonna die. A large, uh, a very very large, uh, black worm-like creature flies up out of the pool, um, and it like comes right past you, and it's got like those like leech-like teeth, and it dives back down under the surface.
Huh. I kind of mime snapping, like my jaw, like clacking my teeth back at it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So where were we at? Where does that put us?
Um,
He did his thing.
Leech to his thing, so that's us now, eh?
Yeah, it's back to you. I
Okay.
think technically it was you guys, and then you basically just added the leech to the fight in the middle of your turns
Okay.
because you went in there.
Yeah, like a mechanical surprise round kind of thing of some
Yeah.
sort. Okay, so then yeah, I failed my tackle, and then yeah, so Thurg would have an action, and Krek is unconscious still? Question mark.
He is definitely
Yeah.
unconscious for a minute, for 3 rounds, not a minute.
So Thurg would have seen the leech.
Oh yeah, he saw it. He felt it.
Gator death roll doesn't work.
No, it does not.
All right, that's all I got.
Okay. All right. Somebody roll a d4 for me. Okay. Um. Now, can you roll a d3 for me? Or a d2? Just flip a coin. Okay. Damn, that is unfortunate. Okay. So, Jim, I need you to roll a d6 and a d4.
All right. 1 and 1.
Okay. So this round and this round only, you are choking for 1 damage. Your armor's not going to help.
Okay. Well, I'm still up then.
Okay, that's good. That really, I was scared.
If it did any more damage, I would not be up because I now have 1 health.
Okay. Um, I guess the worm gets to go again. Fuck. Okay. Let's flip another coin. D2. Okay. Jim,
It's
make a
so
defense roll.
fast.
Okay. Um,
The leech connects.
so first roll a d10. You take 8 damage.
I'm dead.
Okay. Now that you're dead, test your agility against a DR of 6. Since you're dead, you fail. So you're eaten by the worm,
Okay.
and you disappear back into the sludge.
Can we say I dropped my warhammer jumping on the guy's back? It didn't bring it in the pool with me.
Yeah, it's fine with me. I don't care.
Well, that way Thurg or Crack could pick it up and at least use it. Because that's the
I'm
only
fine with them having some hope. That's fine.
it's the only heavy hitting weapon we have in the party, so
Okay.
at least does enough damage to pass his armor.
I don't know that they have any chance. They're not gonna wake up. Like Craig's not gonna wake up, and Thurg, I don't know. He's trying to crocodile roll. Yeah, their turn's done. Jim is dead. Craig, Thurg, Craig, you can't do shit.
No, I'm
So
still
Thurg,
unconscious.
it's up to you.
One more round though. Yeah,
All I
Thurg
have-
is the decision maker now.
All I have to do is kill the guy, then kill the giant worm, and then I'll figure it out from there. So
Well,
Gator
if you
death roll.
shove the guy away from you and get out of the water, the worm might go for him.
Mm, hmm.
Might.
Hmm. We're both like prone on the ground right now, right?
I mean, basically. I mean, you're in the water, so it's not really the same thing. Or in the sludge. It's deep. Clearly, it has to be because that thing is huge.
Yeah, I'm going with the Gator death roll.
Excellent.
Okay. So, what exactly is the Gator death roll mechanically that you're trying to do?
Is there mechanics for choking someone out underwater?
No.
Then a glorified grapple.
There are no grappling rules.
Isn't it
No,
just
there's no-
strength?
I think you
It's
can
a-
probably do that. I think that's literally all it says is grapple.
Yeah.
The whole rule is strength roll to grapple, and there's no description of how that works at all. But yeah, you can grab him and hold him in there.
That's
Are you
thorough.
trying to? You can either both have air or neither have air.
Uh, fuck it, neither have air. This man dies even if it kills me.
Okay.
He ruined my good shirt.
And yeah. What's your toughness mod?
0.
Okay. I think you're probably gonna run out of air before he does.
That just makes him a sole target for the worm. It'll be fine.
Okay. His turn then, I guess.
I have a plan. It's not a good one, but it's a plan.
He dives deeper.
Hmm.
Yeah. He grabs you as well and forces himself deeper.
This did not go according to plan.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't know where you're at. It's dark. Yep. I think that's it. That's the whole bad guy turn. Correct? I think you wake up with a D4 HP.
Yep. I have 1 hit point.
Okay.
I'm bleeding out. My party is missing. Is there any noise coming from the pit?
The violin music from the skeletons is still playing. They're on a pillar in the middle of the pit.
Right, but do I hear anything coming from the pit, like monster noises?
Yeah, there's bubbles. There's just bubbles coming up, like big gashes, like oily bubbles.
Okay. Party's not in sight?
No.
Alright, I go through the southern door and close it behind me.
Okay. Yeah. You can absolutely do that. So you're in the room with all the chains hanging from the ceiling.
Alright. I look around and see if I can find a medical kit.
Okay. This does not look like a place that provides medical care. This looks like a place that hangs people on hooks. Let's see. There's an iron door on the north that you've reclosed. To the west, there's an archway that leads back into that same room, but like the other side of it. Or actually, there is no door on the side you closed, but it's fine. Let's see. To the south, there's rickety wooden stairs that lead up. Probably back to. It looks like it goes back to that room where those guards came from.
All right, I'd like to sneak up those stairs.
Okay. As you go up the stairs, you can tell the room's empty. There's a bunch of spilled drinks all over the place, and it looks like there was a fight. Go ahead. There's 3 doors, two of which you would recognize. One goes into that dining room where that old man was. One goes back to that room with the beds in the library. And then there's a door you haven't explored.
Well, let's go to the door I haven't explored.
Okay. You open the door to the room you haven't explored. And there's this repulsive smell of death. There is a giant pile of corpses in the middle of the room. And against the north wall are cells with metal bars. And the largest cell is full of prisoners who see you and begin screaming and crying, begging for help. But there are 2 smaller cells containing people that might actually be people.
Well, I go and free the people.
Okay.
Is one of them matching the target of this operation? That king's son?
It doesn't appear so. For the record, Thurg, you're super dead. I'm just gonna tell you. Everything goes dark and you run out of air, man.
Yeah, at least have time to go prison rules and try to shank this guy in the lungs.
You probably tried.
Close enough. Mission successful.
You guys might want to roll 2 new characters.
2 new each.
Well, 1 each. Let's not be greedy.
It's not greedy, it's prepared.
Right. Yeah. So I free the humans and tell them to get going. And then there's these abhumans here.
There's mad prisoners who are screaming and like crying, and they're clawing at their faces, and they're holding their arms out and begging for help. But there are 2 like less crazy looking people.
All right.
As well.
Well, I free the 2 less crazy looking people and tell them to get going.
Okay.
I tell them don't drink the water.
Okay.
I see what you're saying. I gotcha. And then I free the rest of the prisoners.
Okay.
I just let them out. You're free.
All right. Yeah, as you approach the bars,
I
go ahead
probably
and
look
make an
plenty
agility
crazy.
check.
Sorry, what ability check?
Agility. -2 from the.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they grab you, and while many of them are holding you, others are trying to strangle you. You take 1d4 damage.
I woke up with only the 1 hit point, so I'm now at 0 again. I'm at -1.
Yep.
And I'm unconscious again.
Yep. Hey, Gilbert.
For the next 3 rounds.
Okay.
Hi guys.
So these 2 prisoners you just let out, have they rolled their characters yet?
I just grabbed Okra from the ones that I sent you.
Okay.
The God Prophet one, yellow.
And Sleuth?
I have a heretical priest.
Okay.
I'm
You
sure
might
it'll
change
Oh,
your
we'll
name.
get along great. Yes, to make it easier, I'll repaste it in chat. That's the one that I grabbed.
Okay. All right. So, Gilbert, if you want to roll a character, you can. That's fine.
Oh, how much longer are we going?
Probably not very much, but you can be in. That's fine.
Big mosh pit fight at the end.
I mean, they kind of already did their big fight. This is mostly just wrap up for the moment. There's definitely more to do. They have not succeeded in their goal, but we
haven't succeeded in anything.
we will probably have to finish another time. But we'll work on it a little more. Yep. You guys should just roll a niche. Whoever has the best agility.
Got +2.
Then
There we go.
you're the best.
I told Gilbert nobody died, and then everybody died.
I'm not dead yet.
Yeah, that's right.
Good.
You're unconscious for like the 4th time, and you will be dead in about an hour and 45 minutes.
Yes, if I don't get medical attention.
Yeah, I don't have bandages on this character.
5.
You died in such a way that your medical kit was unrecoverable.
I
Yeah.
know.
I got 5 for initiative.
Okay, that's pretty good. You probably have. So, yeah, Craig frees you guys, and then immediately he goes to try to free the crazy people you've been locked up with for a few days, and they grab him and start choking the life out of him. So, what are you doing?
Oh. Is there any weapons up here?
You guys have no equipment. Your equipment that you have, you don't have.
Yeah, I know. Are there any weapons up here? That's what I'm asking.
Not in this room.
All
Do I
right.
have do I have my 2 monkeys that ignore but love me?
They're in a cell on the other side of the room, like in a cage.
I'm gonna go pull Crack away from the cage of the crazies if I can.
Okay, that's a strength check.
Boy.
Actually, could I help him with that? Never mind.
No,
He
he succeeds. You pull Krek away from the crazies.
As I get up to go help him, he's already over there pulling him. It's like, oh well, you got it.
Yep.
All right. Improvise. Is there? I guess I'll just start punching.
I mean, you could punch, but there's just they're behind bars, so
Yeah, but they're heretics and need to be condemned.
okay.
I missed.
Okay.
Bars got
So
in the way.
yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. I guess it's their turn then. So they're gonna grab you because you had to get close enough to punch them. Make an agility check. Okay. They grab at you, but your tattered clothes just rip. And yeah, they get your shirt, but that's it.
Haha, you fools! My God protects me. All right, so we got an unconscious guy that freed us, and no business being here. We should leave and wait for this guy to wake up.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Is it obvious that he's bleeding?
I'm also glowing bright green.
Yeah, he's glowing. He's very pale, and he has this sickly green glow, but he has a head wound that is bleeding pretty substantially.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll as we're making our way out of this building, look for anything that I could use as medical supplies. I mean, there's humanoids here, so they should have some sort of first aid somewhere. Even if I can only just stop the bleeding, not heal him at all.
You definitely don't see any in this room. I will tell you that.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, as we're making our way out and leaving the building, whatever
Okay.
rooms we pass through.
So you are all leaving the building?
I mean,
Do I
just
wake
got
up as
three.
they're kind of getting me out of there?
Yeah, I think so. It's only a couple rounds, and you don't need to be an initiative if you walk away from those guys.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
roll
Fuck
your-
them.
Roll your health.
Fuck them
I wanna-
guys out of there.
Yeah, roll
I
your
want to
health.
get the keys off of crackhead keys, right?
No,
For opening the cells.
they were apparently not very hard to open.
No, they're really not.
All
If
right,
you're
I want,
outside the cells, you can open them.
yeah, I want to just go over to the cell with my monkeys and free them.
Okay, you can do that.
And then Crack heals up a little bit because he was only unconscious.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. I gotta roll a d4 for that. Hey, I have one hit point.
Again. Okay. You guys make your way to the exit, back to the way you came in. Out of curiosity, there are 2 doors in this room. You're just going to ignore the other door?
I mean, does it look like it goes into a place that might have medical supplies?
We never found
Um,
the treasure room. That's where all the good healing stuff's going to be. We should try those other doors.
Okay.
I like look below the door. Is there enough room to take a peek?
Yeah.
Ooh,
I don't know.
I'd
It looks like it leads into a hallway. Can't really see much else.
I'll try and quietly open the door.
Okay. Yeah, it opens into a hallway. Crack, you recognize it. It's the hallway where the north end, there's a pump, and there's a hole, like a crack in the wall, and you can look around.
Oh,
It's that
yeah,
hallway.
we've been that way. Okay. So we've explored all the things out here.
Yeah, you've explored, I think, every room.
Damn, no treasure. All right, let's leave.
Okay.
Alright.
You make your way out.
Alright, I've made my character.
Congratulations. As you guys exit the building, there's a mysterious stranger standing outside.
Fuckers are everywhere.
You know, introduce your character, Gilbert.
Indeed. I am apparently a dude named Niffle, a forlorn philosopher.
Oh, hey, I am also a forlorn philosopher.
Very neat.
Oh, hey, I
So-
am also a forlorn philosopher and definitely not a heretical priest. That would be wild. Haha.
Yeah, me too. I'm totally not a dead god's prophet.
Man, we're a
Sometimes.
mighty thinky bunch, aren't we?
You know
We
how
are.
what the success rate on powers was this game? This is not good for you.
Right. All right.
So
Bunch
on our
of
short little
academics.
jaunt, did we find anything that would be sufficient enough to stem the bleeding on Krek?
I don't think so, no. You can I'll tell you what. Hold on. We'll let you make one roll for it. The DR
Okay.
is going to be 18. And I think presence is the closest you get to like a search. So whoever has the best presence, good luck. You might want to burn an omen.
+2.
Oh,
I've
go ahead
got
and
a
do it.
plus 3.
Oh, +3, go.
I'll burn an omen. I'll burn all my omens until I don't have omens.
Have you tried not sucking?
It's
We
not even
have.
worth
It hasn't
talking
gone well
We're
for us.
not gonna talk about it. We're not gonna talk about it. That's one. That's all
Man, I
three of
think
the
you,
omens I just rolled. Ha, fucker!
Okay.
I got one.
All right.
I can't
So
die.
you
He's the only
search
OG.
high and low, and after an hour and 40 minutes, you finally you look over at this well, and you realize that at outside of the well, it looks like somebody dropped. Uh, I don't know. They had a first aid kit.
Like I said, all I was looking for was like bandages. Any cloth would have worked to stop the bleeding.
No, it's a little like bundle of gauze, and there's some alcohol.
Okay. So
Sutures and things like that.
Yeah.
med kit with X charges or med kit with fixed charges?
It is, we'll call it 2 charges.
Okay.
It's pretty much the same thing you had, but just 2.
Well, that thing is it's D4 plus presence charges. So if it was
Is
a med
2
kit with
charges.
with X charges, I could get up to 7.
It is 2 charges.
All right. Yep. So all right, burn one of them up, healing crack,
Okay.
and then you get 5 health.
Hey, I'm back up to full.
Oversaturated him with health again.
That DR was 18.
I used 3 omens. I rolled 40 d20 to get that.
Okay.
Oh my god, though, those tackle rolls were just, ugh. Or they're not the tackle, the one where I tried jumping on
was-
his back. Like that was, ugh.
That was something.
That was the other 3 omen that I rolled on that character.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, you have successfully not died yet. I think it's a good time to conclude. We can bring this up again, I guess, next week if you're all willing.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
We have successfully not died. Results varied.
always willing, not necessarily able.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the
We
moral
have
support's good. You have a character,